minute. Like I said, it's been through like multiple directors, so
Yeah.
it's going.
It's
It's
just, I
had
don't
some
know.
trouble.
And do we know, like, did they reveal at that panel any, like, further details, like how significant Ben Affleck Batman is going to be to that
No,
story, to that
no, they
film?
revealed almost nothing about that. It's like they should have saved that announcement for that panel, but for some
Uh-huh.
reason they didn't. I have no idea why. I'm assuming it leaked, and then they're like, "Oh, let's just get out ahead in front of it."
Yeah,
So
and this is the thing, like, even though I personally don't, still to this very moment, don't care for Ben Affleck playing that character, perhaps if it were if it were a different iteration of Batman, if it were a different costume,
Christian Bale Batman?
if it were a less edge lord universe Batman that
So
kills
not the
people,
Christian Bale Batman?
so not necessarily the Christian Bale Batman. And I'm not saying that Christian Bale is the definitive Batman. Kevin Conroy is the definitive Batman, but at least his voice and that animation style. But I don't feel it's particularly fair. Like if Affleck wanted to get out of the role for whatever reason under the sun, then he should be allowed to do that. And if he wants to stay and continue to push the franchise, he should be allowed to do that. At least give him a fair chance to continue it. I don't like the idea of trying to push simultaneous Batmen in their own respective cinematic universes in the current film market, which is what they will be doing with the Robert Pattinson Batman, which that trailer was revealed at DC Fandome. And I'm just going to just jump ahead a little bit here because I'm just launching into my phrase of the week. And the phrase of the week is fanboys must die. Which is interesting because you guys totally led the episode off with labeling us all our own respective fanboy speciality. But actually, just this evening, I was just patrolling the various social medias, and somebody had posted a very undyingly loyal and extremely loving praise for that Batman trailer, the Batman trailer. And I responded to their comments saying, well, opinions vary, and I didn't care for DC trying to push two Batman and two film franchises at the same, kind of like time frame. And it kind of smells a little bit like desperation from WB because, like, everybody knows Batman is almost as like a sure seller as Star Wars. And he proceeded to blast me with the most curse-laden fanboy guff that I've ever experienced on social media. I'm like, whoa, bro, you took it way past 11 on that one. And we're just talking about Batman, and I didn't even, like, curse that Batman trailer out. I just said, oh, okay, well, I'm glad you love it, but there are different opinions. So yes, fanboys must die because that kind of undying loyalty to brands, licensed characters, companies, this and that. Look, there's nothing wrong with being a fan. And like Henry Cavill said, it is a fan's absolute right to be as critical and meticulous about the material that they love. But is it really worth like blasting other people about it when they don't share your opinions about it? Is it worth, like, for instance, like the whole death threat culture, that has been thrown out there willy-nilly thanks to social media? Is that really appropriate? I mean, do we really need to like dial that up? Is it worth getting so bent over someone saying, you know what, Superman's weak, don't like him, and then you have the biggest Superman super fan just going after that other person, saying, hey, your mother, your sister, your father, your brother, your dog, I'm gonna run over your cat. I mean, is it really worth it? Thoughts?
I mean, they're trying to. They think that they're trying to defend, I guess, their point.
But
I
it's
mean,
not. But their point is not a point; it's an opinion.
It's just because you don't agree, obviously, with their opinion. So like, I'm the Sony fanboy, the resident Sony fanboy. I'm not gonna start sending death threats to people who don't want to buy a PlayStation, or who think that PlayStation is a terrible brand, or they don't like the games, or they think that the games are not the greatest thing in the world, or something like that. To each his own. I mean, whatever somebody wants to play, they want to play. If something is factually bad, it's factually bad. If something is perceived bad by some and then perceived as a masterpiece by someone else, I guess, you don't have to have that, what do you call it, that such a strong of an opinion that to the point where you're literally, I don't want to say throwing your humanity out the door, but like you're just not being a kind human being at all. You're not even being a human being. You're worse than a piece of garbage at that point, I guess, if you do that.
I believe the issue that you're bringing up is the cognitive dissonance angle. When somebody professes or makes a statement that is just so up in your comfort zone and really pushes you in a way that you weren't expecting and don't necessarily know how to process those feelings, so your gut reaction is just lash out, because these franchises, these mega billion-dollar franchises and companies and corporations are so in desperate need of our defending them at the grassroots level, because that's so relevant. I mean, come on, man. Look, it doesn't matter. But I guarantee you can find legitimate diehard fans for the Joel Schumacher Batman films. I guarantee you can find them. You'd have to do some detective work, but I guarantee you they exist somewhere in the world, and who am I to throw them under the bus? You know what I mean? I will say I don't particularly care for the Joel Schumacher Batman films, and a lot of people share that opinion, and they were kind of awful movies, Forget that it's Batman. They were just kind of awful. But I'm not gonna. It's not worth going after people personally for whatever the reason, just because they like something that I don't like. I blame just the current era, the current zeitgeist that we're in, with outrage culture, cancel culture, social media. It's just not worth it. But hey, if you want to do it, fine, cool, you do you. But it's just exhausting. What do you think, Adam?
I don't really have any thoughts.
All right, moving on.
Yeah, I mean, it's obvious. Don't tell people to die. And I'm assuming when you say fanboys must die, you're talking about the moniker of the being a fanboy, not the actual people.
Right, yes, the moniker.
Yeah. Just so that doesn't get lost
fanboy
here, so that you're not being a hypocrite immediately.
No.
That wouldn't make any sense. I would agree with that. Because Last Jedi is an all right movie, and even though it's not a great Star Wars movie, it's all right. So, what are your thoughts on that?
It's interesting that you went. Yeah.
What are your thoughts? It's interesting I went there because I went for something that you actually care about.
Well, I mean,
because your opinions on that movie when it first came out are very different than what you're stating now.
But I didn't. I just expressed.
You never did death threats or anything
by myself. No. Like I had a very.
You're not a monster.
I had a very impassioned reaction to The Last Jedi, and not only that, but also really all of the Disney-owned Star Wars films. I believe I didn't fall in love with The Force Awakens the way everybody else did, because honestly, everyone was kind of pining for that nostalgia that the original trilogy gave. And it was, but again, The Force Awakens was by design a repackaging of elements of almost the entire original trilogy, but certainly A New Hope, for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely better than Episode 4, in my opinion, though. I think Episode 4 is boring, but I saw that way late in life, so I think I just missed the time boat for that one.
Right, yeah. I mean, Force Awakens has a distinct and definitive advantage in the visual effects and technology available. So,
I'm not even thinking about that. I'm just, the movie as a general is just more enjoying to watch for me.
It's still a story though it's a story that's heavily dependent on those original building blocks, and that inherently doesn't make it. It just makes it inherently weaker as a result. It's not a standalone story. Oh yeah, they do, but I just feel that but the fact that it isn't a standalone story, that basically by definition means that it kind of owes everything that it has to that original trilogy.
Yeah,
but that's fine. I mean, cool. And I know for a fact that there are several diehard fans of the Disney Star Wars trilogy, and that's cool too.
Ooh,
I just don't
particularly... Though? Come on.
Well, hey, I don't know. I'd rather not get it, because that is definitely even worse than the Last Jedi situation. I don't even want to go there. That was just
the Last Jedi. Real quick. The Last Jedi is like a Batman v Superman or Zack Snyder's Justice League. Not everyone's gonna like it, but the people who like it, I get it, and the people who don't like it, I get it. The Rise of Skywalker is just it's the 2018 Justice League, the 2017 Justice League. No one even knows when that movie comes out. It's so bad. It's just, there was just no vision. It was all over the place. It was garbage. So yeah, what? Okay.
What?
We're gonna have to get into that when we talk about the Snyder Cut trailer.
Yes, we will.
But yeah, no, my opinions on the Batman trailer, I loved it. I thought it was great. As I've said earlier in the podcast, I'm the resident DC fanboy. It was objectively a good trailer. The suit looks great. I think the cape's a little too short, but that's whatever. The collar, like the neck, it's a little too weird for me, but I'm sure I'll get used to it over time. But I like the look of it overall, and it's also rumored to be his first suit. And then that explosion you see in the trailer, it's rumored to break that suit, and he has to get a new suit. It's only his year 2 of being Batman, and Matt Reeves explained that he's been influenced by a lot of Batman comics, a lot of them that I'm not even super familiar myself, like Batman Ego. I've never read that one.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that one either.
Yeah, but looking it up, it seems to be something the elite know about, and I'm not part of that elite, apparently, that's one I now want to read, just because I'm curious about what that's about. Catwoman's suit sucks, but again, it's year 2. That my opinions on the trailer are all like, it's a trailer. It's not the movie.
Isn't the Catwoman suit similar to the one that's used in the Arkham City games?
No, because it's basically a ski mask that's cut different with some ears, but it's not really a suit. It's literally just, we haven't seen her real suit yet. We've only seen.
I could have sworn I saw like a quick shot of Zoe Kravitz wearing the actual one with the red goggles.
That's a fan edit. All of those you've seen are fan edits. Some of them are really high quality and look amazing. With Rob Battenbats, his suit, that's what it's called, by the way. With his suit, he looks like the Telltale Batman a little bit. He's got the same medium build, which I'm fine with. We got thick Batman, we got thin Batman with Christian Bale, and then we got this medium build Batman. I'm cool with it.
Well,
also, when he beats
Michael
that
Keaton
man,
was definitely thinner than Christian Bale.
Batman,
Michael Keaton was short. Thick Batman is Batfleck.
Yes,
thin Batman is Christian Bale, except in Batman Begins, but that suit is thick, and then the rest of them are like just armor. And Christian Bale clearly wasn't working out. But he said it's because his character wouldn't have time to train. That's why he's decided to lose muscle all those times. But it's a choice. It's not a choice I would have made, but whatever. I'm excited.
Chris
It's
Nolan
a trailer.
Must have signed off on it,
Yeah, no, again. I'm not Chris Nolan. I wouldn't have made it. But I probably wouldn't have made a good movie, honestly. I don't have any skills with directing or anything like that. The trailer, I liked it. It was cool. I've seen it a lot. I don't want to admit how many times. As The Red Knight Rises was downloading and playing the first 2 hours of the Avengers game, I watched the trailer that entire time. So
interesting.
Yeah,
that's a lot of views.
It's
Genesis.
Some views.
So I am not a particular big fan of DC, especially with the latest movies they've had. But I will.
See Shazam.
I'm not. No, I'm not even worried about that. I will admit the Batman trailer has got me hyped and interested in it. I will also admit, though, a lot of Batman trailers will always get me hyped.
Oh, yeah.
Just because I like Batman as a character. The difference, I think, if I see Superman and I see Batman, Superman does not hype me up the way that I see a Batman movie, and I think that stems from the Dark Knight series, because that was like my first time ever seeing a very serious tone Batman, where it's like there's this sense of realism. It's not like, oh, it's a superhero movie. It's a very realistic, gray and dark and gritty movie.
And that's by design. You know, Chris Nolan was going for that. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So,
I mean, I came from watching a lot of the animated series Batman. I used to watch like the TV series for Justice League and things like that. So, seeing that, I was like, oh, this is freaking awesome. I like this.
Mm-hmm.
And now seeing the Batman after Batfleck and Batman v Superman, I am actually very, very excited for this movie. Not just because, again, they're bringing that dark and gritty tone back, but more
wait. The dark and gritty tone never went anywhere.
The Batman v Superman, I don't know if I would say that's dark and gritty. That was more like they were trying to do like.
No, we can't laugh. Opinions vary. This is the conversation we were just having. Well, opinions vary.
So explain how that movie's dark and gritty.
Batman was branding people. Batman was branding people.
And he murders people.
Okay, hold on. Yeah. We'll get to the murder. He was murdering people, obviously. Some of you can dismiss. It's fine, whatever. Zack Snyder's a crazy man. But Batman was branding the criminals he beat up. And branding people is not something Batman normally does. That's a little messed up. I mean, then those people were dying in prison. I don't think he knew about that, which he should have, because it was Lex Luthor's men who were targeting those people in prisons to make it look like Batman was doing it on purpose. That's all in the ultimate cut. Not explained that well in the movie at all. Mm-hmm. But what are you talking about? That is dark. It is literally about a man trying to kill another man for 2 hours, and then they realize they have the same mom name, and then they team up to beat up a thin man, and then they can't, so they beat up a big giant man that the thin man used the old man that fought the other man that broke his neck.
That's just about it.
That's not
a lot of men.
Gritty.
Gotta be honest.
Like when Christian Bale got his back broken by Bane, I like that. That was for me, in my opinion, a more dark and gritty than branding people and.
You just said it there, though. It's more dark and gritty, or darker and grittier.
Is it?
Well, when I'm making the comparison between the two, I like the branding people, okay, and then the murdering people. They're not trying to make him actually physically murder people, but we can clearly see he's murdering people.
You know, they try to make him murder people in Batman v Superman.
Did he?
Zack Snyder. There is
people?
Yes. There is literally a quote. There is literally a quote from Zack Snyder talking about Batman, and he's like, "When you watch the other Batman movies, you don't know if there's a possibility Batman can be raped. That's not going to happen. But in my movie, you don't know." That is literally a quote by Zack Snyder.
Right.
Zack Snyder should have made a Punisher movie decades ago. That would be the best Punisher movie ever made. But he nailed some essential qualities of the character Batman. And I disagree with Giuseppe. I think Batfleck is good, but I understand why people don't like him, because he was put in movies that are terrible.
I
just didn't. Maybe it's less for Ben Affleck himself. I think the vision of the Batman character that he plays in these Justice League movies, I don't care for that version of Batman, period. Like, I can understand the Christian Bale Batman because, again, Chris Nolan is dedicated to grounding that Batman in as much reality as possible. Yes, you have to, take some leaps of faith there. You have to suspend your disbelief, but it's not a huge stretch when you consider basically infinite money and technology. And I grew to love and accept the Michael Keaton Mr. Mom Batman thanks to Tim Burton's dedication to a particular visual style that catered to that kind of like timeless Gotham. Was it really like the late 80s, early 90s? But everyone's using Tommy guns and this. It was a nice visualization of Batman. And normally I wouldn't ever look at Michael Keaton and say, yes, that's clearly Bruce Wayne, puts on a suit, and he's going to start doing all kinds of martial arts to break criminals. Yeah. But the vision came, and I grew to love it. I don't have any kind of... I just don't care for the Ben Affleck Batman. I just don't like that character. I don't like his motivations. I think he's too flippant with his anger and rage, and that he instantly just compartmentalizes it and say, oh, yes, now we're friends. Oh, I let him down at the end. What? You let him down? What are you talking about?
It's not well written. Yeah, it's not well written. That part,
so again,
all,
and that's just my opinion. So I don't care
that's
for
a fact. That movie is not well written in certain parts. It fails as a film. Now that's if you can think that the movie's well written, but there are aspects of that movie where it's clearly not. It's not. There is a point where it's an opinion and a fact, and certain opinions just are not facts. I'm sorry, but you can like the movie.
Well, no opinions are facts, so
yeah. Well, yeah. Well, you'd have an opinion that is also a fact.
Yeah. But regarding the Batman trailer, the Robert Pattinson Batman trailer, I will go ahead. Yes, so I will go ahead and be the dissenting opinion on this panel regarding the trailer. I was not particularly wowed by it for 3 reasons. Number one, I did not like the suit. I think the suit is a boxy, janky mess, and I understand the reasons why. It still looks like a boxy, janky mess that was made from the recycled, mangled body of the Shredder at the end of the first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles film, when he's crushed in the trash truck by Casey Jones. And they just went there and kind of like sifted out the flesh and just got that scrap metal, and they kind of threw it together, and it's the Robert Pattinson Batman suit. I just didn't like the design of it. It looks kind of goofy. I don't like the cowl at all. The cowl is weird. Yes, Adam, you drew attention to the like neck area with the cape. That's also weird. I also just don't like the boxy torso. I just don't like it. It looks janky to me. Number 2, the car looks real goofy. I just don't like it at all. It looks so generic. It's like somebody just tacked on a turbine engine to like just a regular muscle car, and there you go. That's what you get. And then number 3, I know everybody everyone was like really going gaga over the whole him saying that he's vengeance to the criminals. I'm like, are they really excited about that, or are they just really nostalgic over the Kevin Conroy's line, "I am vengeance, I am the night, I am Batman"? I'll probably like the film even less if what the Batman really has going for it is just generated by nostalgia berries that harken back to like the animated series, which is legendary. I mean, like I said before, that animated series was fantastically written, great character drama, character development for Batman and like almost every other character, whether they were friend or foe, that revolved in his sphere, in his orbit. It was great stuff, and I really hope that this film is going to attempt to really find a voice of its own and not try to bite off of previous successes. But when I heard that line, I'm like, ooh, yeah, no, I didn't. I don't buy Robert Pattinson delivering that line. It's just he's not that tough guy for me. He's just not. I know who's under that cowl.
I can answer that question though. Like, was it
okay?
Like, as someone who I liked when he said "I'm vengeance," because I thought he was going to say "I'm Batman," and I was like, oh, didn't even think of the animated series, so there was no nostalgia in that for me. But I'm also not going crazy over it. I think the people who are going crazy over it, it's probably because that fight, that beating right before that, which is.
That's me.
It is. Okay, what? Explain.
What?
I saw that same level of brutality has been shown in previous Batman films. It's just that just the camera just stays on it, static, to see more of it, as opposed to quick cuts that may have been featured in like the Burton films, or in a lot of shaky cam / panorama cam. No, I'm not saying that exact same combat, but I'm saying that type of combat, that type of brutality was featured. It's just they cut away from it because Tim Burton is not a skilled action filmmaker. And then for the Chris Nolan films, it was curtailed by, the brutality was a little bit curtailed by the shaky cam, as well as a lot of dynamic, tilts, pans, tracking shots to kind of like get you to kind of like animate the frame, as opposed to featuring the action within the frame. So it kind of got obscured a little bit. But brutality is that's just like the easiest part of displaying Batman. What I want to see something different, and Batman beating dudes up. Yeah, okay, maybe it never gets old, but that doesn't do it for me.
So what do you want to see from his combat? Like what's the difference?
I don't need to see anything different from it. It's just like that doesn't wow me. What can I say?
You just said you need to see something different.
Yes, but not through combat. What I wanted to see, it was, and I don't know if this was ever like rumored in the past, but I would love to see the aspect of the Batman persona in a film or film series that really focused on the whole detective angle of.
So, like when he's at the crime scene with Gordon in the beginning.
Well, yeah, but more of that, like actually doing a little bit of forensics work,
like a Sherlock Holmes type of Batman.
Or even maybe doing a little bit of surveillance, maybe even like going to like the criminal underworld and do like kind of like a hard-boiled detective, interrogation almost. Those were kind of cool things that the original animated series, they delved into those angles, from time to time. Like it wasn't a forgotten aspect of that character. And that's one aspect of Batman that I don't believe any of the films have really gone out of their way to develop, because obviously you got the tech with the toys, and you got the
Dark Knight came the closest with that fake brick machine that took the fingerprint.
Right. Yeah.
And like
but that was actually more.
It was It was not great. But this the amount of time he's in that crime scene in the beginning is the same amount of time he fights that guy.
Okay. Well, that's just the trailer. Okay?
Yeah, that's a trailer. Hey, that's the trailer.
Is just designed
and
to make
fight scenes are more expensive than talking scenes. So odds are the brutality, an opinion on that fight scene. You said it's brutal. I think it's also brutal, but I don't think it's like the Zack Snyder Batfleck brutal, because he's not going around.
He didn't kill him. He didn't kill him. So
it's more than that. He's not going around beating up multiple people. He's taken out one dude by breaking his arm and beating him in the face, then saying the vengeance line. And it's to make an example out of him so he doesn't have to fight the other punks that are looking at him. And I hope that is the only person he beats up in that group. I hope. If it turns out, that's why the word hope is there. And with Superman, you gotta have hope. So remember. But you also
hope is dead though.
No, the symbol stands for hope. Superman. Remember. So we also don't know that he doesn't go in there and beats up that guy and cuts off the heads of everybody else. It's a trailer. But at the same time, he clearly spends time focusing on the one dude to make an example out of him. And that's what's so exciting to me. So I get the brutality is there, but it did not remind me of any other Batman incarnation I have seen. The closest it came was the Snyder one, but that was just brutal to be cool and brutal and fun. That's just who Zack Snyder is. This was something completely different. And also, it was a well-directed moment of combat, which is something great because the Christopher Nolan trilogy, the combat was never the greatest. The Krav Maga that he did in the when he took Lee in China, that was probably the best action scene in that movie. And then maybe the club scene. But there's moments where he's clearly not hitting people, and the way he swings, it's not great. Everyone always makes fun of the Batman and Catwoman fight against all the thugs in The Dark Knight Rises because they're clearly not hitting anybody, and the people fall down without anybody even near them. Like it's awful. It's not good. And then the fighting again. I really love the warehouse scene in the Batman v Superman. But also, I hate how he murders everybody. And nobody has confirmed that Batman will not murder in this movie. So I gotta hold out some hope there. In regards to the car, I get the criticism on that. Yeah, it's not the car I would have chose because it's not the sleekest, not the most stylish, but it's a trailer, and he's only in year
functional.
2.
It also doesn't seem very functional.
It looks like it drives, and then you see it bust through a thing.
But I mean,
so it seems pretty functional to me. I don't know what you mean by functional. What do you mean like with gadgets and stuff?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I mean, it doesn't seem like it would do what he needs his vehicle. Oh, hey, whatever. I don't know anything about it.
It's early in the Batman's career. It's not like a functional vehicle like the vehicle in Batman v Superman, where he's clearly been Batman for 25 years. It's not that.
Yeah, right.
So it's cute. I'm curious.
I understand that. But I'm just saying is like that. All of that being said, the trailer is a product by design that is completely independent of what the final product, the final film will be.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it is, its very nature is to make the promise of what the film could be look as good as it possibly can, right? And I'm just saying, it's like, nothing that I saw in that, just like, it's fine, it's there. I wasn't really impressed by it. I wasn't really wowed by it, and that's fine. Who cares? Some people loved it. I just don't think it should be seen as like an objectively awesome thing because it's Batman.
I don't think it is. I don't think it's seen as. I don't see it as an objectively awesome thing because it's Batman. I see it as an objectively awesome thing because there's a lot of moments I like.
Yeah, I didn't like as many. Actually, did I like any moments of it?
Oh, did you?
I'm sorry, I kind of forgot it. It's kind of forgettable to me. I'm sorry. The only impression that it left with me is just Batman beats up dudes, and I already know that. But yeah, he's going to beat up more than that one dude.
He's also at a crime scene.
And that's fine, but I've also seen that too. It's just
where?
Like he's at a crime scene.
Yeah, surrounded by police.
The Dark Knight trilogy, The Dark Knight, the bank scenes.
He's in a room. He's off in a room, hidden with Gordon and.
Yeah, he's there at a crime scene. He's there at a crime scene
with two close allies.
Yo, it's not a thing anymore if we have to debate, technicalities.
No, it's not a technicality. I'm saying, where have you seen him surrounded by police where police aren't trying to kick him out?
You mean other than the animated series?
Exactly, other than the animated series. Where?
I just really remember the animated series, and I still count that scene from The Dark Knight. So. Again, it's not a quantum leap forward in Batman portrayal. It really isn't, and I don't think it should be credited as such. Well, that's your opinion, and my opinion is that it should not be credited with it.
And I really hope that you like this movie when it comes out, and I hope we could talk about it forever.
But we can talk about it forever.
But I know for a fact that you won't.
What do you mean?
I know you won't like it. You've already made up your mind.
I haven't even seen it yet. All I've done, I've just made my opinion known about the trailer. That doesn't mean I'm not going to like the movie.
Sure. Opinions vary.
Anyway, hey Genesis, let's get back to you. We kind of left you in the dust there. Sorry about that. Are you still awake? Are you with us still?
I like the movie. Great. We can move on to the next thing. Now.
I like the movie's not out.
The movie's not out.
Okay, now we gang up on him. Now we gang up on him.
I don't know.
Hey, let's talk about some of the games they announced at DC Fandome. Let's talk about the Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. What did you guys think about that trailer, and what do you think about the concept of that game?
I don't think I spent much time on the trailer. I think I see.
You want me to give some details about it first?
Yeah, go ahead.
Go
So
for it.
Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League is made by Rocksteady Studios. They created Batman Arkham Asylum. They also worked on Arkham City and Arkham Knight. This is a continuation of the Arkham series. You get to play as Harley Quinn, Deadshot, King Shark, and Captain Boomerang. Tara Strong is reprising her role as Harley Quinn. Even though it's in the Arkham series, this Deadshot is black. I wanted to say race swapped, but then I almost said gender swapped, and I'm like, that's not true. But a lot of people have been pointing out on the internet, like, hey, this clearly can't be in the Arkham series. The only time we ever saw Deadshot was in Arkham Origins, and he was white there, and that was made by WB Montreal. They have another game we'll talk about. This is a 1 to 4 player co-op game. Swap in. You can jump in, jump out. You can swap characters as you're playing. It takes place in Metropolis. You see Big Belly Burger in the trailer. Clearly Brainiac's there, and the Justice League are either mind controlled by Brainiac or something. So I honestly do not know if it's going to actually be killing the Justice League. I think they're going to try to kill them, but it's not going to be an actual kill, because I don't know if DC would allow that to happen. Also, if it's mind control characters, I don't know if people would feel justified in killing the Justice League. So I'm not quite sure why that's a thing. The trailer, when it came out, it premiered after Gotham Knights, which is also a co-op game. So I was upset, because even though they say you could play it alone, it doesn't. A single player game with optional co-op is never as good as just a regular single player game. Unless I'm wrong, I do not know one co-op game that story is just as good as a single player game. I really don't. It's very difficult to let that be made, because most of the time it just feels like you're goofing off with your friend, and then there's some serious cutscenes, and then you're back to goofing off with your friend. Like, it just doesn't work. The trailer kind of looked like a Sunset Overdrive type of thing. And I actually compared it to Fortnite in looks, like I was playing, which is not the highest compliment I can give something. I was not happy that it's co-op. To hear that it's in the Arkham universe is kind of exciting. It's not coming out until 2022. It's only next gen, so PS5, PC, and Series X. So I really don't have high hopes for this one, honestly. But Rocksteady, they have plenty of time to convince me. The resident DC fanboy here is not interested. If Batman was in it, still wouldn't be interested. So,
Genesis, thoughts on the Suicide Squad game?
From the way Adam described it, it sounds like what we already played. Although I can't say that it is directly like that, but it sounds like the Avengers very similarly to that. Because I distinctly remember not having fun at all playing by myself, but as soon as Adam got in the game, had a lot more fun playing that game, even as it was as broken and.
So real quick, they have not announced it as a live service game, and if we talked about Gotham Knights first, I would have mentioned that Gotham Knights is coming out in 2021 for like everything. And it has levels, and it's a 2-player co-op thing, and that actually looks more like Avengers than what they demonstrated with this.
Oh, so this is not a live, or they haven't confirmed it's a live.
Yeah, they haven't really confirmed most of anything. By the way, there's going to be third-person shooting mechanics in this game. I forgot to throw that little tidbit out there. Also, the Arkham combat's return for this one, as well as the third-person shooting mechanics. Not really sure how. Captain Boomerang,
Arkham Combat.
Yeah, for the Suicide Squad game. I couldn't tell you. Also, they all have like special abilities. Like Captain Boomerang has a boomerang that like teleports him. Deadshot has a backpack that's a flight, like a jetpack that burns people. Harley Quinn, I don't remember, and King Shark is a demigod, so he's probably going to be super strong and stuff. So, but as far as I know.
The grappling hook.
Yeah. As far as I know, they haven't really confirmed any like gameplay details other than the third-person shooting and the Arkham combat. There's not really much else. So, I don't know if it's live service, honestly.
Okay, so really quick on the concept of the game, I like the idea of taking a superhero-themed video game and kind of like flipping the formula, where the player is going to take on the role of the villain. But it really doesn't matter for Suicide Squad, the game, basically in the same way it didn't really matter for Suicide Squad, the film, because the villain angle to the protagonist slash player avatar is just basically plot devised away in terms of justification for doing whatever action that they're doing. Like, for instance, you mentioned, Adam, it does appear that Brainiac is there, apparently controlling the Justice League. Seems like kind of like, a standard fare, like,
it's a cop-out.
Conflict. Yeah, standard fare thing that Brainiac would do, and seems, that would be an effective way to, like, take over Earth. And now the Suicide Squad got to hunt Superman, who does something very naughty to an innocent police gentleman. And they're like, oh, who do we got to hunt? Oh. I thought Captain Boomerang's reaction was, that was kind of funny. I chuckled at it.
It's not an unfunny trailer.
It's not. No, it's entertaining. Would have loved to see even like one brief 2-second window of gameplay, but they probably don't have any of that ready yet.
Not at all.
But I will say that I don't. Just the concept of trying to continue to push the Suicide Squad as its own brand thing, almost like it's like DC's X-Men team. It's like that still seems comical to me, because the Suicide Squad, I mean, look, I've never been a huge fan of the comics. I only am vaguely aware of like some of the rotating members in and out that have been affiliated with that group. But the film didn't really do much to push that brand. I mean, it made them flashy, but that film was awful. And honestly, I just don't loser villains attempting to go after the Justice League. Are you kidding me? They would get themselves murdered if they went after the Wonder Twins, for crying out loud.
Did you watch the interview that they did with Will Arnett?
No. What did they say in that?
So Will Arnett did like a cast interview. He basically pretended to be in this, like, call up the characters in the trailer, and they're like, we're bad guys, like, what are we doing? We can't take this guy down. And then Captain Boomerang was like, I throw boomerangs. I don't think you've seen us. We can't take Superman out. And then Will Arnett gives them like a speech, and then they're like, well, we do have bombs in our head. I guess we have to do this. So, they know they're not going to win. So I'm curious as to how it seems like that's a story element, because it seems like they understand that, like, Harley Quinn, King Shark, Captain Boomerang, and Deadshot can't kill anybody. Like, what are you talking about? They can't kill the Justice League.
Nobody on the Justice League level. They can kill normal people fine. That's not a problem.
They can't kill the Justice League, but it seems like they're aware of that, and it's got to be a story element that they're going to address. So it does seem like they kind of understand that opinion. In regards to the Suicide Squad movies, let's never talk about that film ever again. Opinions do vary, but again, those people are wrong. I don't know. I'm fine. I like the idea of Suicide Squad. What are we? Some kind of Suicide Squad? Like, I'm down with it. Like, cool. I'm not thrilled every time I see, like, a new Suicide Squad thing. I think it's a cool idea, but I just, man, I went into this not wanting a co-op game, because when they announced 2 co-op games, I was furious. I was like, are you kidding me? 2 co-op games? And they come out a year apart. Like, why?
Well, now that you do mention it, let's go ahead and just launch right into Gotham Knights. Gotham Knights was an interesting trailer because it looked more like one of the Arkham games in terms of, like, the visual fidelity and the open world aspect to it.
That Bruce Wayne looked nothing like the Arkham Bruce Wayne, and people have not played the Arkham games in a while because they're like, wow, it looks like the same graphics and the same character models. And I'm like, guys, you need to play the Arkham games again because it don't look like them.
Well, they look similar enough.
Okay, not at all, man.
Not at all.
No, the Batman looks nothing like the same Batman. The Batman from Arkham Knight looks more like Kevin Conroy. Y'all don't remember what Batman looked like in Arkham Knight.
I'm trying to get away from the actual cutscene stuff. I was talking more in terms of like the actual gameplay that they showed for Gotham Knights, and it looks pretty much like it's cut from the same cloth for the Arkham games. At least enough to warrant, whatever. The gameplay looked
Not
good.
The combat.
And I'm glad they showed. The combat didn't look good?
No, the combat didn't look like the Arkham games. It didn't look like Arkham kind of combat to me.
Well, I mean, it looked good. I'm glad that they showed some gameplay, and it looked interesting and compelling enough for me to see, this is how they showed that, that one example of how the co-op would work when one player, grabbed another one and then kind of like threw it into the other player, and then they did a kick combo or something. I don't like that they turned it into Assassin's Creed. The current iteration, I should say.
Oh, with the leveling and stuff?
With the leveling and then like the damage numbers that pop up whenever you hit or finish or
it's more of they turned it into a what's that game, Genesis, you talked about I think last week? Starts with a D, it takes place in New York. It's online. No?
The Division.
The Division, thank you. Genesis, are you here?
I'm here.
What happened to you? Why didn't you answer?
Oh, I didn't think of the name.
What did I ask?
Okay.
I don't know what you asked.
There you go. Please pay attention. I can always tell when you're never paying attention. That's always fun. We're talking about Gotham Knights, and we're also doing the podcast, even though it's Tuesday. But this is our new night for it. But Gotham Knight, it looked like The Division, because it's a co-op game. It doesn't look...
Yeah.
I don't think the combat looks fun. There was a bit of jank to it, but it's a year out, so that's plenty of time to change. They did confirm that when you fight the district bosses, because it's split up into districts, like Mr. Freeze runs an area, and then I think they haven't really confirmed anybody else except maybe Two-Face. And it depends if you go to Mr. Freeze's district first or Mr. Freeze's district last. They will scale Mr. Freeze so that he's still challenging to you, so that you're not like just OPing all the bosses at the end, which I think is nice. And I hope they pull that off. I'm not interested in that game whatsoever. Again, out of both of them, I'm probably interested in this one more, but that's mostly likely because it comes out first. But if there's a beta, I'll try to get into it, but if not, then I will probably wait. Because there is so far nothing. And it's weird how the game starts off with, like that cutscene starts off with a trailer of Bruce Wayne being dead, and the Arkham Knight ended with him fake dying probably, and he's probably going to show up in the Kill Justice League game. But
and I was gonna ask you about that. They went out of their way to say in the press coverage for Gotham Knights that Gotham Knights is not connected to Arkham Knight in any way.
Yeah, it's not in the Arkhamverse whatsoever.
Universes.
Yeah, it's all different voice actors, and they're doing their own thing. They're trying to get out of it.
That's cool, but it seems like a very odd way to begin, considering the way that Arkham Knight ended.
It is, but if Batman doesn't die, then nobody wants to play as anybody else. Nobody wants to be Nightwing because they want to be Batman. Nobody wants to be Batgirl because they want to be Yeah, you would.
Honestly,
but most people.
I would love to. Well, I was drawn to Red Hood right away because honestly, I'd love to incorporate guns into that kind of combat style. Love to see how that works.
Yeah, and he's not even killing people, which is neat.
Right. Well,
it's a choice.
Rubber bullets.
Also, Tim done. Drake Robin is the other character. Yeah, you get to ride Batgirl's motorcycle. If we play, I'll probably be Batgirl. I'm just throwing that out there. Batgirl's my favorite out of those. Nightwing's a close second.
Seems fun.
But if I played as Nightwing, I'd just be looking at that booty. Genesis, you know what I'm talking about.
Uh-huh.
Are you listening?
Genesis.
Yes, I would rather play as Nightwing or...
Yeah.
I liked Red Hood design from Arkham Knight, but I don't think they're going with the same design in this one, right?
No, not at all. It's all different.
No, it's a
Did
different.
you
it's a different
listen
look.
to anything
No.
that has happened?
I understand that. Okay.
What just happened?
I don't know. I think I shamed him into a corner. That was weird.
Oh my god!
I'm in a corner.
No. You're not in a corner. Please,
Shame.
come out to play.
Shame.
Come out to play, Genesis. What did you have any thoughts about the Gotham Knights trailer?
Trailer looked interesting. The whole thought of him being dead again. Yeah, weird connection between that and Arkham. The Arkham games were I only understood I think 2 nights ago when Adam and I were playing the Avengers beta, because I couldn't remember the ending of it, and then he explained it to me over again. I was like, oh yeah, he did fake die or supposedly die at the end of that. And I was like, wait a minute, they're starting the game with him dead. How does that not connect? It would make more sense if that was the game that connected and Suicide Squad was not. So, weird direction that they're going in it, but I don't know. I think if it was a beta, I'd want to try it. I gave the Avengers a beta shot, so now exactly. I know I don't particularly want that, because at first obviously it was like, oh okay, it looks cool, and then more stuff came out and all that. By the way, just a side note, did anybody realize that the exclusive Spider-Man DLC is not coming at launch?
Yeah, no, they announced that it wasn't coming at launch.
Okay,
I think it's coming 2021.
Yeah,
like first quarter 2021 or something. Yeah, I think they said that. Yeah.
February? I was like, that's weird. Anyway, yeah, that was a side note. I only found that out a couple days ago. I was like, what? And they have it on the packaging when you buy the PlayStation version of the game. It says it right on the packaging, like play exclusively on PlayStation Spider-Man. And I was like, it's not even in the game now.
It probably says somewhere in that tiny lettering, like coming exclusively to PlayStation 4.
I did want to ask though. I know the Arkham series was a very heavy contender on PlayStation, especially when it came to Arkham Knight. Did they announce anything with either sides, like Xbox or PlayStation?
No, there was nothing announced. I wouldn't be shocked if we get an announcement closer to the launch of Gotham Knights, and maybe closer to the launch of Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League. But so far, they were just revealing it. They didn't say anything. I would imagine, just like Avengers, they didn't announce the exclusive Spider-Man thing until like a few months before the game launched. So
yeah, I'd figure Sony would want to pick up Batman a little bit, just because I know they've had a good history with him. With the Arkham games.
If they announce it now, who's going to remember by the time the game comes out?
That's true.
So let's get closer to it. If there is something, honestly, I would think there would be something with Xbox. But Xbox isn't really into doing those anti-consumer moves, if you will. But as we talked about with rumors last week with was it Imran Khan, who said that Sony is working with they're doing those backhanded deals to get exclusives. So it's certainly possible, but so far nothing.
Fair enough. So why don't we go ahead and skip back over to the cinematic aspect of Fandome. And they also released the Wonder Woman 1984 Cheetah trailer. We got to see the fully CG Cheetah for the first time in the trailer, in live action. And I think we can definitively say once again, Hollywood visual effects companies continue to have a major malfunction when it comes to creating good-looking cat people for the screen. It's an abomination. Yeah.
It's not as bad as a Cats movie. I'll throw that out there right now.
You're right. It's not as bad, at least because obviously, like the rest of Cheetah's body when it's being engaging Wonder Woman in combat, like it looks pretty good. Like it looks like it belongs in that scene.
Real quick, I hate how dark it is. It looks like they did not learn that people, because that's clearly going to be the end of the movie. And they were like, we've heard the backlash of Wonder Woman 1, and I really hope that they brighten that scene up a little bit, because it's just it's easier to make special effects in the dark. That's why most low budget TV shows and stuff All the CGI is at night. That's why horror movies are made for cheap, because it's dark and the shadows hide a lot of that stuff.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
don't think it looks great. I really hope it's fixed by the time the movie comes out. But the movie already should have been out, and I doubt they're putting more money into it. So we'll see.
Yeah.
When was it supposed to come out?
It was originally supposed to come out in July, right?
July
or
it was,
and then it was pushed to August. No, June.
Yeah.
June, pushed to July, pushed to August, pushed to October. I think it's now been pushed to December. But
That's
in the
amazing.
trailer, it actually says just coming soon. It doesn't actually have a date because DC is still committed to putting their movies in theaters for some reason. Maybe it's probably because if you pay $30 like the Mulan movie that's coming out, you would need way more people to pay $30 for that movie than you need people to go see it in the theater.
I would
crazy.
rather watch something like that in a theater, but
yeah. I'm not watching Mulan, but
no.
Event films will always have a home on the big screen for theatrical releases, and I hope that is something like, it probably goes without saying that mid-tier to low tier to maybe even the indies are definitely first on the chopping block when it comes
Bill and
to
Ted's Face the Music comes out this Friday. I don't think that's going to do great. I think people are going to see it and be like, oh, cool, Bill and Ted's, but then see that, I think that one's $20.
Is that going in the theaters? Because
theaters
are open across
the
world.
It's not.
No, most theaters are not open, like around the world, except China is starting to open some theaters. Yeah. But it's still, everything is still cut down.
Up here for like 25% capacity or something?
Yeah, they're trying to. It's not going well, particularly. No. Also, they're trying to open up in bigger cities first. They're not doing it around here currently. Because I was actually just talking to the Red Knight Rises, because Tenet is coming out, and that's not anywhere near here. I wouldn't have gone, but I was actually curious. And he's like, "Oh no, they're not doing it yet." So it's still a lot to work out, but getting back to Cheetah, so.
We're getting it next week in AMC's at 40% capacity.
Oh, are you?
For the theaters, yeah.
Are you gonna go?
I desperately want to, because I haven't seen a movie in a theater in almost a solid year, maybe more.
It's been a while for me. Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna say almost a year.
Oh I changed that. I saw the Rise of Skywalker in the theaters, so that was the last one.
That's still almost a year because that came out in December.
Right.
So
it's close.
Yeah, it's getting closer than you think. Yeah. No, I would love to go to the theater, but I won't even go to a restaurant still, because I just think it's weird people serving you. I'm like, I'll just order it to go, but the DoorDash people keep standing at my door, not placing it down on the mat. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah, I thought that was understood by now.
The last 3 people have knocked on the door and called me, and I opened the door, and they're standing there, and they're like, "Here's your food," and I'm like, "The instructions say put it on the mat," and I explain what my mat looks like, and they clearly found where it is. Oh God, it makes no sense. That's no. Tune in next week for the DoorDash rant, and not the Fall Guys game.
That's awesome. But going back really quick to the Wonder Woman 1984 trailer. In particular, Cheetah. That face looks so awful. It's not a Kristen Wiig amalgam. It also doesn't even seem like it belongs on that body of that animated Cheetah, figure. I don't know where they pulled it from, but it looks awful, and I don't understand.
It looks strange, and I hope in the movie you see it stand still for some time. And I've been saying I want to see a 4K screenshot of it, but it doesn't look like they have any, which is
you can't
concerning.
Get a screenshot from a 4K version of the trailer?
Yeah, it moves so quickly that whenever I screenshot it, it comes out blurry. So I need someone quicker to do it. Genesis, have you watched the trailer?
I have not.
Okay, that's fair. No, he's not interested in the DC movies, as he already explained. So I didn't expect you to. I didn't expect you to prepare for this podcast, as you have been checked out for 95% of it so far.
Hey, but you know what? Well, you know what? He definitely, Genesis must have an opinion on the Snyder Cut. What do you have to think or say?
Oh, yeah, you do!
Genesis.
Did you want to finish your thought before I say
No.
anything?
That movie should have been out by now. Real quick. I thought it was a good trailer. The cheetah part's a little weird. It's cool how Kristen Wiig in her, I think the costume that she's wearing previously with the cheetah stuff, I think that looks terrible. It looks like something from a movie in the 90s would do. And then she does that wire work spin into Wonder Woman's like gauntlets thing. I'm like, wow, she went through the gauntlets, but also that effect wasn't that great. But I'm excited. She swings on the lightning. I like everything about it. Gal Gadot is always great. And the trailer's not as good as the previous trailer, but I'm still excited for the movie because I'm the resident DC fanboy. All right, what are your thoughts on the Snyder Cut?
Good stuff.
Snyder Cut has me real excited for Justice League again. I am excited to see it, as I've already told you that I need your login to watch that because I don't care if it's 4 hours long. I like that.
Well, they're breaking it up into 4 parts too, an hour apiece.
Yeah,
but you can also watch it as one giant thing, according to.
I've been
Mr.
contemplating
Snyder.
whether I want to do that or watch it in 4 separate pieces.
I'll tell you what.
I'm going to sit down and watch it all together.
I'll tell you what. I'll watch it all separately and all together. I just don't know which one I'm doing first.
I think I want to do the all together first. I don't think I'm going to bother to watch it all separately if I can watch it all at once.
Just like the Justice League.
I am very curious about the whole black suit Superman. I think he looks real cool in that. A lot of people, or a lot of the opinions that I've seen, is like they're spoiling things in the trailer. Like Cyborg's, was that his father?
Yeah, Silas Stone.
Silas, yeah. And then I guess they changed the resurrection of Superman slightly in the trailer. And
wait, how in the trailer did they change that?
I don't know. I just read like little tidbits. Like people were saying they changed the resurrection. Somebody died in the trailer.
Well,
they're fleshing out Flash and Cyborg more. That's what I read about this thing.
So in the trailer. Well, it's rumor. No one really knows. The resurrection of Superman is different. We just don't know how different. It could still be digging up Superman's body. You see Cyborg in the trailer digging up a grave, but there's 2 headstones, and it looks like that's a completely different gravesite than Clark Kent, and it looks like he's digging up his own body. That's what that looks like.
I had
to
a
me.
feeling it was either his father or his own body. Because I was like, it's got to be something related to him because they showed that right after the Flash saved the girl, which I don't recall seeing that girl before.
It is not. Yeah, she was cut from the film. That is supposed to be Iris West. She was cast in the Flash movie by a former director named Rick Futanara or something like that. Sorry if I'm saying his name wrong. I don't know what it is. He left after creative differences. Zack Snyder still brought her in to shoot some scenes. They filmed this movie in 2016. It was 2021 when that movie's coming out. So.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a hot
minute. These scenes were filmed in 2016?
Yes. So real quick on the Snyder Cut, if anybody's unaware, the Snyder was making the Justice League movie. And then in early 2017, his daughter passed away. She committed suicide. I actually found out over the weekend that one of her favorite songs is that Hallelujah, and that's why he uses it so much. It also made me very disturbed about the Watchmen scene, but that's neither here nor there. Yeah.
Watchmen scene?
Yeah, there's a Watchmen scene where that song plays during a gratuitous sex scene. So,
yes.
If you played Last of Us 2, think of the Abby scene.
Yeah.
It's
not as gross as that.
Well, opinions vary. There's I'm calling this episode Opinions Vary. I'm throwing it out there right now. But
by the way, I'm sure. By the way, Malin Ackerman, I'm sure would love to.
She's working still. I think. But yeah, the Snyder Cut. Zack Snyder. After that, he announces like 3 months later that he's leaving the project because of his daughter's passing. But it was completely obvious that people at WB were freaking out that the movie was too dark of a tone, and they thought he would split audiences again like he did with Batman v Superman, because Batman v Superman did not perform as well critically.
Not the projections.
Yeah, it didn't meet any of them. Critically, it was bad, and Money-wise, it didn't do. It's a Batman and Superman movie that didn't make $1 billion in the year 2016. It should have made $1 billion in the year 2001. It's
Right.
Batman and Superman fighting each other. If you do that right, that should have made gangbusters.
So,
And
not to cut you off, but a quick question as to why would they put him back in charge if the initial movie
we're
he
getting
wrote?
there.
Oh, okay.
So they then bring on a director, as you know, of the Avengers and Avengers Age of Ultron, Joss Whedon. He's also done some other stuff that nobody cares about, including Firefly. So he's brought on.
Buffy.
Yeah. He's brought on to finish the movie. Now, this movie, he gets a lot of blame for this movie, and I blame him personally as well, because he's just, from what everyone said, he's an awful human being. But it's clearly not the movie he would have made. But because WB was like, this movie needs to be under 2 hours. We're giving you a certain amount of money for reshoots. Also, Henry Cavill, who plays Superman, was filming Mission Impossible Fallout, and he had a mustache in that movie. The mustache was not relevant, really, to the Mission Impossible Fallout at all. But since the Paramount, I believe, and Warner Brothers have a bad history, Paramount would not allow Henry Cavill to shave his mustache. So for any reshoots, instead of having Henry Cavill grow a beard, they decided to CGI out his mustache. So that's why his mouth looks all wrong. So
Yeah,
in most of the
I noticed that.
Also, Ben Affleck is going through some deep-seated personal issues, so he's a little bloated from being an alcoholic, and his hairpiece is completely different. So in the movie, the 2017 Justice League movie that came out, it is filled with like some Zack Snyder scenes where it's like healthy looking cast, and then there's some scenes where it's not, and it's clearly reshoots, and it looks terrible. And it's this bloated mess of things that just don't mesh together. Like, you hear the 1989 Batman theme, and that's a wonderful theme, as I believe Giuseppe can attest to. Beautiful.
Absolutely.
It's wonderful theme. Does not work at all for Batfleck. Like,
correct.
The idea of it, oh, that sounds cool. John Williams come back? Oh, yeah. No, not at all. Doesn't work. J.K. Simmons, his role was cut down. Literally every role was cut down. And Zack Snyder was like, we filmed most of this movie. And he started to, like, speak out after the movie came out. And the movie did worse than Batman v Superman. And it also was critically panned. I saw it in theaters, and I cried because I thought it was so bad. I saw it one more time because I'm like, maybe I'm wrong. And then I cried, and I haven't watched it since. Because I literally cannot watch that movie. Because I only like 2 scenes in it. And from what I know, they're Zack Snyder scenes. They're not Joss Whedon scenes. But I have to see the Snyder cut to confirm. And then Zack Snyder, behind the scenes, he was like teasing people on this website called Vero, I think Vero. It's like a Twitter. I don't know what it is. It's weird.
Right.
But he used it. And then some fans, you actually saw interviews with some of these fans at DC Fandome. One was a female from China, and she said that Zack Snyder inspired her, and like she really praised him. And Lauren, not Lauren. What the hell's his name? I wanted to say Lorne Michaels, but it's the one producer of Michael Rosen. Yeah,
Okay.
Michael Rosen. He apparently was helping with that, and I don't. It's a whole thing. But they interviewed a couple Zack Snyder fans, and they started a movement called the Snyder Cut, and then the Snyder Cut movement created a lot of toxicity for a couple years, but they also were trending almost all the time on Twitter. They paid for billboards. They raised a lot of money for suicide awareness. This is not something I knew either. I learned on Saturday when they were talking about, like, Zack personally thanked the 2 people he interviewed for raising money for suicide awareness.
Which is, that's good. It's good whenever something like that can draw any kind of positive attention and funds for, valuable, social support, services.
That's also shocking
to be remembered.
Because the amount of toxicity that came out of there, and I've been on Twitter for the last few years, and somebody, I don't know, some celebrity was like, yeah, Snyder Cut, yeah, let's get that out. It probably won't be that great, but let's get it out. And people went off, and I like replied in the comments like, "It's just, hey guys, it's just an opinion." And I was told to kill myself like 11 times by Snyder fans. So I still consider myself a Snyder Cut fan, and I've been a big fan of that. I really was excited for Joss Whedon, but I didn't realize how movies work because they did not give him like creative control whatsoever. They were like, keep some of these. Here's $300 million to reshoot it. It's one of the most expensive movies ever made. The budget is actually not really known, but that Snyder Cut grows in popularity, and then apparently Zack Snyder behind the scenes starts talking to people at DC. DC has a whole shakeup behind the scenes with the AT&T purchase. There's an illicit affair with the guy in charge of the movies. The creative control of DC kind of falls apart, and Warner Bros. It's all mixed up now. And they talked to Zack Snyder around March, I believe. They announced the Snyder Cut. And right when the Snyder Cut was announced, pandemic. So who's to blame? I'm not saying names. But yeah, now the Snyder Cut's coming out, and they have $30 million, but it could go up to more to redo some of the CGI. He can't do any reshoots with the actors in the movie, but there's rumors that he's doing reshoots with the Colonel from Man of Steel because he was supposed to be revealed as a certain character. I won't spoil it here. And that's what that is. And the trailer came out. I like the trailer. I get why some people didn't, because that song is. And then actually, when I was talking to the Red Knight Rises, he actually. He gave his wife gave her opinions on the trailer, and I was like, oh yeah, if you didn't really follow the Snyder Cut or like see Justice League or remember like all of this passionately, every scene in that trailer is gonna make no sense to like the general public. And I'm like, because you see all these things, but like, the trailer starts off with a big CGI man. That's Darkseid. I mean, it doesn't look like the Darkseid I want.
He was not in the original.
No, Darkseid, Desaad were not in the original. Steppenwolf was. You see Steppenwolf?
Steppenwolf looks much better in this than he did
Steppenwolf
in the original.
looks 100 times better. He still looks like a giant CG monster, but he does not look like a Suicide Squad PlayStation 2 graphic CGI monster. He looks like a metallic like force of energy, and I cannot wait to see that. I like the color palette that the movie's going for. I still think it's a little muted, and I would like it to be brightened up a little bit. But again, it's his. I want to see his vision, because if it's 4 hours of garbage, it's 4 hours of the garbage he made, not 8 people made. And I think even though I won't like it, I know some people will, and that's enough for me, honestly. Because then we can just move on and start over. But I don't have high hopes. I have hopes that it's good, but it looks way better than the 2017 Justice League. Also,
I think from the trailer, it just looked way better than the 2017 one.
Also,
I didn't dislike the movie, but it looks better. I think.
It's my least favorite movie of all time. I've decided. After only 2 viewings in theaters, it's literally everything I don't like in a movie. It's not clear. It's sad. It hurts me internally. It's the worst. It's one of the worst days of my life.
There you go.
I was in a state after that film. But in the trailer, like Cyborg evolves as a character more than in the entire film of Justice League. Like you see him play football.
That's good.
You see him play football. You see his mom in the stands cheering. He clearly turns into Cyborg. His dad dies, and then he's digging up a grave. And you're like, what is going on here? I'm curious. And the other one, he's standing in a room, and he's wearing sweats, and he saves his dad, and then he puts a C on his chest, and he says, "Booyah." The end.
Yeah.
So, also a Russian family is trying to be saved.
Awesome.
So, yeah. Ugh.
So, I mean, Snyder Cut, it's, I guess, good to see that it's finally coming to fruition. But Adam, you made reference to moving on, and I've already moved on from Justice League. I'll check out the Snyder Cut at some point.
You can use my login if you want.
Sure, we could give it a shot. But I got to tell you, I mean, like, you know, I hope it ultimately is a positive entertainment experience for those who are anticipating it. But for me, like, I'm kind of in the no opinion, not applicable category for the Snyder Cut, because honestly, I don't see how adding content, whether it's on a micro level with, you know, secondary characters and extra CG, I don't know how extra bells and whistles makes a better or a good film out of an inferior one. But, you know, if it at the very least could be a little bit more clear regarding its plot, cool. Then let's see that, turn it into like a mini series, which is, you know, 4 hour long segments. Yeah, that's a decent mini series right there. So cool. I hope everyone enjoys it when it comes out. But honestly, I don't really care, because there are always new movies that are coming down the pipeline, and I was really excited to see the movies that were slated for this summer, and you know, I was really disappointed. Obviously, COVID times, I get it, I understand, but I'm still really in that mindset, and I don't really care about looking back to the past, especially for films that didn't set well with me on initial viewing.
So, in a breakdown of the film, Justice League is an hour and 45 minutes, and I believe an hour is Joss Whedon footage and 45 minutes is Zack Snyder footage. And Zack Snyder advised that he's not using any of Joss Whedon's footage. So it's potentially 3 hours and 15 minutes of new footage. So that could be a major change. And if it's but like you said, if it's just like if it's the MacGuffin of the stupid mother boxes again, and Steppenwolf being like mother over and over, then it's clearly not going to be good. I really hope that Colm, what's his name? The dude right in the beginning of Justice League. The dude in Mindhunter. Not the main dude, his partner. I can't remember his name.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's right in the beginning of Justice League, and I'm pretty sure that's a Joss Whedon scene. And I'm like, that dude could be in so much. That dude's a great actor. He's not in enough.
He is.
Yeah, he's underrated.
Absolutely.
One of the most underrated in my opinion, but
I agree.
Neither here nor there. But yeah, Justice League. Do you want to quickly go through the other movies too, if we don't have anything else to say?
I don't have anything else to say.
Genesis, do you have anything else to say?
I think I'm just excited for Justice League. I feel like there's been a gap since something like the Avengers or something where a lot of them come together like that. And the last time I remember seeing Justice League was, I think, when I saw it on the movie theater, and I believe you saw it like right before I did, and you asked me like, oh, what I thought of it.
Yeah.
Like I said, I never hated it, but I did not like it to the point where I was like, oh, this is okay. But I always compare Avengers with this, and I kind of want to see something like that because I have not seen in a good Avengers movie or a good like hero team up movie.
Yeah. Like how you're talking about heroes and trying to murder a horse with a crossbow.
Yeah, you're really taking it to the wildlife out here.
But I agree with that. I'm excited, so I hope it's good. I'm ready to be hurt. And I plan, after this movie comes out, or 4-part series comes out, I plan to actually rewatch the Joss Whedon Justice League before this comes out, just so I could see the differences. And it's going to be a hurt week for me if this is no good. So,
my goodness,
I think
podcast might be canceled that week, boys. Just throwing that out there.
Oh God, I think honestly it's going to be something better than what we saw in theaters.
I honestly can't think that it's going to be any worse. Because that is the bottom of the bottom for me. So I'd rather watch G.I. Joe Rise of Cobra over and over and over again than watch Justice League. And I have talked to Giuseppe about that one being the worst movie, especially with the green smoke.
The trailer did its job though of trying to excite people into what they're trying to show, and it did its work. It did its job. I was excited, and I was not very. I was very skeptical, and I did not really care about any DC properties after after I think Aquaman came out.
Yeah,
so
yeah, Aquaman.
And these two, the Batman and the redone Justice League, I'm excited for those. Anything otherwise, I really don't care.
And once again, I'd just like to reiterate, and I know I've said it before, but I'm going to go ahead and say it again. Everyone just pump the brakes on trailers and the effect that they have on the overall final product. I mean, it's there to get. The trailers are by design to soup up the hype wagon and get you excited, foaming at the mouth, and it's great and exciting and it's good stuff. Great. However, just don't put all your faith in a trailer, good or bad, right or wrong. Case in point, look what a trailer house did to the Suicide Squad film. They gave them a film to cut.
Let's be honest, that all DC trailers are great. Mostly. DC pumps out great trailers, and their movies are not. They're really good at making trailers. They know who to go to make a trailer.
For the trailers, right.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. Well, the whole Suicide Squad, the whole trailer thing is such a weird thing. Where they're like, here's all the footage. Make a trailer.
But let's definitely keep... I think we, as a culture, we need to really be a little bit more cognizant of separating the two entities. Yes, obviously one is designed to get you to be interested in the film, but they are two separate entities. Very often you'll see footage in a trailer that does not exist in the final cut. So
not for Snyder Cut, baby!
Well, that's because they had to basically just bring it all back. Zack did some severe necromancy there and resurrected every cell of celluloid he could scrape up to hopefully connect all those, tie up all those subplots, make it all flow. And
we shall see.
I got to
introduce more subplots.
Yes, Genesis.
The Avengers movies, just the final two, Infinity War and Endgame.
Oh yeah.
They were critical successes in the box office, I'm assuming.
They're
I'm
both
just saying that, obviously.
They were
if
critical
I'm wrong,
and financial, right?
No, you're right. You're right.
Correct me if I'm wrong. But if they, for example, I know there were still issues with the film. Some people still had issues with the film, regardless of the fact if it was a financial and critical success in the box office. What if there was a similar cut to that type of movie? Like, let's say they took the Avengers and they did like a quote unquote Snyder cut. I don't know what it would be.
It would never be made.
It would never be made.
You want an 8-hour-long movie? I mean, what are you looking for? I don't understand.
Well, it's like, I'm just asking for your opinions. Like, what would be something that, like, because how we're seeing the Snyder Cut, all these extra things are being put in and things are being changed.
Well, to my knowledge, there isn't like a missing chunk of original concept that was missing from either Infinity War or Endgame.
But they also released those with the DVD and stuff.
Yeah, it's
like
not
it's not a Frankenstein's monster like Justice League was. Justice League is such a weird situation. I don't think there's ever been a movie in this situation before. I'm pretty because I can't name one other movie where the version that came out nobody liked. I mean, some people liked it, but no. But like critically and financially, nobody liked, and then 5 years later, the new version of that same movie is coming out, and they pumped more money into it. So, Infinity War if Infinity War came out and only had a 2% on Rotten Tomatoes and made $60 million in theaters because for some reason it had like just hate speech in it or something, I don't know. I don't even know if that would stop it. But if that happened, I think then Endgame would go through something like this. Marvel would have panicked, but at the same time, I don't think they would have panicked. I think they would have been like, oh, that's a weird one-off.
And there's also something else to consider, too. The reason, I would say a primary reason why the Marvel Cinematic Universe has turned into the gold standard for blockbuster filmmaking globally is because there is a clear hierarchy
Yeah.
And a clear vision that extends from that hierarchy. And that's, of course, Kevin Feige at the top of Marvel Studios. And he is involved in every Marvel film to various degrees. But he has a working relationship with all of the directors, all of the writers. He's working with the Russos and everyone. I mean, and he is involved, and everybody is marching to the beat of the same drum. It may not necessarily be even Kevin Feige's exclusive drum, you know what I mean? But it is his vision, and he's directing traffic for 10 years. You know what I mean? They've been making these blockbuster films, and for the most part, they've all been received well. There are definitely some duds.
12 years now,
World.
by the way.
12 years, right?
Yeah.
So, but this is the thing. The same cannot be said of the DC Cinematic Universe. Nobody knows who's really running the show. Now, it's just some nameless, faceless executive at DCWB.
It's Walter Hamada now.
Well, that's good for him, but has he actually demonstrated any kind of leadership along the lines of Kevin Feige?
No, not along the lines. No. You can't compare anybody to Kevin Feige, is what I know his name being pronounced as. But opinions vary on how you pronounce his name. But he's clearly doesn't have that experience. You can't really even compare the two because Marvel is just light years ahead, and it hurts me every day that they're light years ahead. Because when we were all youngins, DC was light years ahead for a long time, and then they threw it all away. So
was that the Dark Knight and stuff like that, or are you saying before?
Oh yeah, the Darkest Knight that was a major crossover thing for DC for a while.
No, he's not talking about that. He's talking about the Dark Knight.
Oh
no, I was talking about like 89 Batman, 78 Superman, like the all that. Like Batman was like the box off. The movie blockbusters are really around Jaws. Like there's pivotal moments. And Batman is one of the pivotal moments in 1989.
Sure.
Like it inspired people to go out. People were so upset about Michael Keaton's casting as Batman that they sent letters. Yep. Yeah, they sent letters to the studio. They sent so many damn letters. Can you imagine hating something, writing it down, putting it on the envelope, sending it out, and waiting for a response? No, I couldn't do that.
I believe Deadpool said it best. Maximum effort.
Yeah, I won't even tweet at somebody if I don't like something because I don't think they care, and I don't care enough to do that. So
right.
But hopefully it all works out for everything. But they're not even comparable. Marvel would have had a screw up majorly in the beginning. Like if people found out that like Kevin Feige was putting in hate speech throughout all these movies or something. And, like, it's been building up to, like, a new world order. Like, it would have to be monumental for them to... something has to happen. They have to consistently be bad for a long time for people for this franchise to be canceled and for anything like this DC thing to happen. DC's been on a rocky road for a while. They literally went to hell and back. And, like Ben Affleck says, I don't care how many demons and how many hells he's fought... Never fought us, not us united.
This is the thing too. I think if we're just opening up the discussion a little bit to kind of comment,
we can open it up.
DC versus Marvel.
Oh no, we're gonna close that. We're gonna close that right now.
Well, I was just
Marvel
wins.
Say,
well, I'm not to talk more about Marvel. We don't need to discuss. We know what Marvel is. But I think the issues. I think the issues that are still kind of prevalent with the DC films is that they're making odd choices when it comes to their characters, when it comes to the vision, when it comes to the cinematography, and also casting. Now I understand that the DCWB they want to distinguish themselves, the distinguished competition as they are, from their competitors. And while that may seem like a good idea on paper, I don't understand making choices just to distinguish, just to differentiate. Like, for instance, the whole, well, look, we're dedicated to dark and edgy. Yeah, but all of your characters in DC are not dark and edgy characters. In fact, the vast majority of them are not. So I don't understand how that should be like the main vision for this universe in general moving forward, to make them dark and gritty and whatnot. But these are like, you know, the trinity of DC. Like they were supposed to be like really, you know, awe-inspiring titans. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like Gal Gadot is in the Wonder Woman movies.
Right. Yeah, and I would say for sure Wonder Woman
exception.
is definitely an exception. I loved that first Wonder Woman film. That performance by Gal Gadot definitely made me a convert. I was not particularly confident in her casting originally, but
Giselle from Fast and Furious? Are you kidding me?
No, I'm not kidding you.
No, but, Giselle. She was Giselle in Fast and Furious, and then I said, "Are you kidding me?" Because why would they cast her? Then I looked at her and I was like, "Well, I'm not mad."
Well, she's a very attractive lady.
No, not at all.
Okay, so but either way, regardless, I think a lot of those decisions in regards to vision, character, casting, a lot of those things, it just seems to me that they were more driven and motivated by just this desperate need to just be different from the other guys. Let's not make, you know, the best choices when it comes to casting. I mean, I'm sorry, Jesse Eisenberg is Lex Luthor. Like, look, he knocked it out of the park as Zuckerberg in Social Network. Because guess what? He is that guy. He is that guy. Good Lord. Nailed it. But Mark Zuckerberg is not Lex Luthor.
Like, yeah, they went in a different direction. I really don't want you to go on further, because this turns into a whole thing we can go into. Because I disagree with almost everything you're saying, and we're not going to jump into this now. This isn't the DC movies episode. We'll do that when Genesis is out for an episode.
And that's fine, but I mean, like, but those
well, you
don't
watch them, you don't care, so.
But those decisions reflect
You want to go through them all? You got to watch Joker and Shazam. Get to it right now. Leave.
I'm not watching Joker and Shazam.
Get out of here, man. You would like Shazam. I don't know why you won't understand that.
If you know the reason, it's after Aquaman, and even though that felt like the most Marvel-esque movie, I did not want to watch anything after that.
I would not say Aquaman. Aquaman felt like a 90s rock movie. So.
Aquaman was also a little bit of a mess, especially at the end.
Again, we're not getting into this right now.
It still was.
Yeah,
I mean, there's a lot.
The other movies that were at DC Fandome, we already talked about The Flash. We already talked. There's a Suicide Squad movie directed by James Gunn. Got an impressive cast list. Pretty exciting. They released a character trailer for it, just explaining who everyone is. They also
so like the first 10 minutes of the film. Got it. Check. Moving on.
They also released some behind the scenes, about 4 minutes, just explaining, like, this is what we're filming, this is what we're doing. We don't really have a trailer. We're too lazy to cut it together with all the footage we have. And the CGI is not done, because pandemic, sorry. They did that. I mean, James Gunn, I'm excited. It's cool. Suicide Squad, don't really care. I like Harley Quinn. I like the looks of the characters. It looks like it's going for a more fun, goofy thing. I don't know if anybody else has seen the footage of that. Yes or no?
No.
No? Alright, we'll move on then. Shazam 2, it's called Shazam Fury of the Gods. They had Sinbad join, because you know how that Mandela effect, where people believed Sinbad was in a movie called Shazam, but it's actually Michael Jordan, or not Michael Jordan, Shaq and Kazam. So they had Sinbad join the panel, and he's like, I'm in this too, and they're like, what? No. It was really funny. Okay. It was an interesting choice, and it was funny. And
slow day for Sinbad.
You know, they probably paid him. It was probably a cameo, honestly. But he joined. It's funny. Yeah, they revealed the title. There's really not much to it. It's supposed to come out eventually. I think 2022, but who knows anymore. And then there was also Black Adam. That was The Rock. He's been cast in this role for 7 years. Black Adam is supposed to be he's like a magical dude from, what's his city? Or country? Kazat or, I don't remember. He's from there. Giuseppe, do you remember what his city is?
I'm
It's so close to
remember.
Kazakhstan, but DC does this weird thing. Or is it Kazakhstan or something? DC does this weird thing with other enemy countries. They don't actually name real countries. That's why it's Gotham City and like Metropolis. It's not real cities like Marvel does. Marvel keeps it in the real world, but DC's all, even though they're supposed to be in the real world somewhere. I don't know, whatever.
Right.
But The Rock, he basically put out like an animated like comic panel trailer, of just him explaining what the story is, and he's like, I'm a bad guy. Like don't worry guys, uh, it's there's the justice way, the true way, and my way. Like it's honestly an interesting little trailer. It's only like a minute and a half, so if you have time, I'd recommend checking it out. He confirms Hawkman's going to be in the movie along with Atom Smasher, and they already casted Atom Smasher, and it's
really?
Noah Centineo or Centino. He's in the Netflix movies as the Heartthrob 95% of the time. Not really known for his acting skills. We shall see. And The Rock is supposed to be the big bad, eventually coming for Shazam. So that might be something that some people here might be interested in. Nobody in particular. Just looking at some people, just thinking. We don't even know if he's paying attention.
I am paying attention.
Oh, he looked. So yeah, they clearly didn't have too much to show for a lot of these, but they still showed stuff. And I think that's all of the movies that they talked about. Oh, they announced a Static Shock movie, a live action movie is being made. And
movie.
It's kind of an infamous movie. I'm excited for that one. Just the announcement of I wanted a Static Shock movie since that cartoon show. I love Static Shock. I
would love.
Oh, when Kevin Conroy popped up in an episode 2.
Right. And it's funny that you mentioned that because I would love to see. Quite honestly, I would love to see the DC films get away from whatever they're doing currently. Just blow it up and let's go to Futureverse DC, specifically like the Batman Beyond universe. And
which
I
could
love
happen
that
now.
one. Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like it's as specifically as it pertains to Static Shock, because I love to see that character like full adult, like really like at the apex of his powers, and kind of like sharing a storyline with like Batman Beyond and like the future Justice Leaguers, just to see like that kind of story come to live action. I think that would be really neat. I would love to see it. I'd love to get away from edgelord DC films as they are right now. Just to wipe the slate clean and let's start fresh, because the characters are just so much potential, and the output that has occurred thus far has not been.
I honestly think it's promising because it looks like we're getting out of that edgelord DC fan.
Good, thank
goodness.
I'm sick and tired of it.
Aquaman and Shazam clearly were not edgelord. Like
no,
so we're getting out of it. I mean, they're clearly keeping Batman dark. And if that's the edgelord you're talking about, then sorry.
Well, yeah, but the patents in Batman we have to kind of like put that on Pluto or whatever it used to be, the artist formerly known as Pluto, and then just consider that in kind of like a vacuum seal chamber and just like.
Well, it's also not in the same universe, so they've announced
that's what I'm saying.
the multiple Batmen, which you said you don't like, but it's actually going to work in your favor if a Batman Beyond movie comes out, because Michael Keaton's being in the Flash movie, and if he wants to stay on for more, I'm sure they're going to ask him, and if they're smart, I'm sure they're going to ask him to do a Batman Beyond movie, because that's who I would
he
pick.
could easily do that, no problem.
Love
sure.
it. Also, I think that's it with the DC stuff. Is there anything else I'm missing?
I don't know. You pretty much nailed it all.
I think we got it all. There was some comic stuff. I don't read. I mean, I will read some of the stuff they've announced. I don't remember any of it, and this isn't really the type of podcast for that.
Yeah, I wish I was still. I mean, again, I wish I had more disposable income to, keep involved with comics. But honestly,
welcome to your weekly reminder that we're all poor.
That's right.
Donate. We have no Patreon. We don't accept any donations. Just watch for
we will have a PayPal. Donate to that.
No, we don't have that. We're not starting a PayPal yet. Let's get people here. Let's pretend for a second that at least one person is watching, because we know you're out there. Desu Noto, he's not even out there, is he?
We're not.
I did not see him pop on today.
That's all right. Well, he probably didn't know it was a new date. That's all right.
Let me be honest with you. Never liked the guy.
Yeah. I'm not
Also,
surprised.
what are we moving on to next? My foot's cramping. Ah, fuck!
We got something to talk about the Switch, the new Switch 4K. Anyone have any awesome things to say about the Switch 4K?
Switch 4K, it's coming out. It's going to have 4 kilobytes of memory. Very exciting. Going to play a lot of big games.
Yep. Big games like Tetris, Pong.
I honestly think those are more than 4 kilobytes.
Maybe.
Actually, Pong might not be. Well, anyways. Genesis,
Breath of the Wild 2 might be on there. There's rumors going around that the Switch 4K version is going to be the main platform for the Metroid Prime 4 that has been rumored to come out for almost 3 years now.
I would imagine that it's going to be playable on both, right?
I would assume.
Yeah, they wouldn't leave.
Nintendo's a very
40 million, 60. How many Switches have been sold now? 50 million, 60 million?
It's a lot.
54 million, I believe, the last
I
time.
still, I got mine. So
a lot.
If I bought one, other people have bought one. So.
Switches. That Switch, I believe, is being reserved for Metroid Prime 4, Breath of the Wild 2, the next Super Mario Odyssey, and perhaps a.
So these are all rumors?
These are rumors, yeah.
What's the actual report of the 4K Switch?
Just that there's one in development. There's supposedly the parts have been starting to be manufactured to create this console, as well as they're due for an upgrade on the console, because if you look at their track record, they generally stay with one specific console. I'm looking at like the DS and things like that, because I can compare this more to a DS than I can to like the Wii and the GameCube and the Wii U. The DS came with the DS original, the DS Lite, the DSi, the 3DS, the 3DS XL,
2DS,
the new 3DS, new 2DS, and then they finally killed it when they put the Switch out. So it wouldn't be. I would not be surprised if this literally was just called Switch 4K.
Yeah, they've already done the Switch Lite.
Yeah, I would not be surprised if this was called Switch Pro or Switch 4K
Switch K.
or something. Switch K maybe.
Yeah.
But the only confirmed report is that it's being made, rumored for 2021. That's at least what the suppliers and things like that suggest. But the rumors are basically that this console is being created to directly compete with the likes of the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X, just because obviously those consoles will be able to output 4K and 8K.
And current gen games aren't really running that well on the Switch.
Correct. That is the main complaint that Nintendo's been receiving. Although I don't think Nintendo really gives a shit, because they have their they have their first party, and their first party is what sells their console. Yeah, that's what really sells. You don't buy a Switch because you want to play COD or Battlefield on it, or the latest.
Well, what about hopping on that battle bus with Reggie?
Yeah, Fortnite. Apparently you don't want to do that either, because that Fortnite's dead on that console, apparently.
So, Genesis, you make a very fascinating point there regarding the 4K Switch, the hardware, and the software. Doesn't it kind of like make kind of a little bit of a silly amount of sense for Nintendo to go ahead and say, hey, look, we're going to rededicate ourselves to hardware performance so that we can, compete with the big boys. But at the end of the day, they're not really interested in having that software support be on the same level as the boys that they want to compete with. So, what's the true value in upscaling, resolution, hardware, performance, what have you, when you're really not gonna have the software that makes those other platforms go in the first place?
So you still want third-party people being on your
They
console.
definitely want third-party. Nintendo is definitely one of those companies that I don't think they care as much. Let's say if they lose a contract, for example, okay, I'll take Avengers for example, the game coming out, right? If they lost the contract to be able to have that, let's say it was going to come on the Switch and then or it should have come on the Switch and it didn't. They don't really care to lose something like that, but you know they want to cash in on the big things like Fortnite. I'm surprised that they have not tried to cash in on Fall Guys. Currently, Fall Guys is only on PlayStation 4 and PC.
That's made by a small studio. I wouldn't be surprised in the next year if that's on everything.
Oh, I'm sure. But I'm surprised that they're not trying already to cash out as fast as they can on things like that. Not that you need a 4K console to run something like that, but the thing is that I think they, not only to excel their own games, but they definitely want to see if they can sign more of those third-party deals with the third-party companies, because
but in order to facilitate those kinds of deals, it has to be more than just simply offering a hardware platform that just can get the job done. Basically, I mean, those other studios are going to want, hey, look, we would love to get our games out onto as many platforms as possible. But now they're going to have to abide by all of Nintendo's rules as it pertains to their online communities.
They don't mind
sure
it. The third
they
parties
don't.
mind
I thought.
Look at The Witcher coming on Nintendo Switch. The Switch can barely run The Witcher.
Well, that's true.
And CD Projekt Red decided, okay, let's go put it on there. I'm sure they had to abide by a bunch of Nintendo's rules, but does it matter to them? They get to put it on another console on a game that was what, 2000?
Old game.
2017, 2018? Am I
right?
I mean,
that's 15.
15. I apologize. 15.
That's an odd thing too. Like the fact that so many companies would be willing to go ahead and put whatever kind of time and resources into converting like old software.
Install base.
You got to remember the install base, because currently, as it stands, Nintendo is decimating Xbox in the install base. PlayStation is still currently leading the pack, with Nintendo catching up very
PlayStation
fast.
already had like a 4-year head start though.
Yep, and they're catching up within 2 years.
Yeah.
So you got to see the install base on that. It's not really down. I mean, the hardware is going to help, and I have a feeling they understand that they need to put the better hardware out if they want to capture more of that install base, because they don't concede. Maybe I might have said the wrong thing when they want to compete with the PS5 and the Xbox Series X.
No.
They want to capture more market share when it comes to those. I should change the word and say those companion consoles, because at this point in time, when you buy a PlayStation 4, your companion to a PlayStation 4 would be a Switch.
Yeah, absolutely.
And same goes for an Xbox. If you buy an Xbox,
wait a minute, it wouldn't be just a standard smartphone. A standard smartphone isn't.
No, because it's a companion because you still want to play the Nintendo games.
Correct. You only buy a Switch to play the exclusives, which is Nintendo is still known for that. Nintendo, I think, does want to break the ice on that particular notion of them, we just want to buy a Switch because we want to play Mario, we want to play Smash, we want to play Metroid or whatever.
And that's 100% true, but what I'm saying is that capturing whatever kind of like third-party support they think that they'll get, they hope that they'll get, that's not going to.
They don't have to think and hope; they're getting it.
Yeah, they're getting
it. Difference. They're getting it. The thing is that it's taken a while for them to get it. See, PlayStation and Xbox, when Xbox 360 was leading the pack, a lot of things were leaning towards. A lot of games were leaning towards Xbox, but that was nearly as much as when the PlayStation 2 era was around, where I think almost every godforsaken developer was on PlayStation 2 and making games on that. Hence, that console selling, what did it sell, like over 100 million over its lifetime or something like
150 that? 150 or 160 at this point, I think.
The Switch is gaining extreme traction on all the console sales, and a lot of that's why Xbox is scrambling to just get their developers in place and say, okay, here's what we have to show. And honestly, I think that's one of the reasons why their last showing was just all these CGI trailers. They're trying to get as many developers on their side as possible to make sure that they can close whatever gap there is. They can say all they want that they're not competing with Nintendo and Sony and the real people or Apple and this and that, but at the end of the day, the market share goes to the home consoles.
Their whole thing is Game Pass. Switch. They're not competing in the hardware, really. They want you to buy an Xbox, but if you don't, I mean,
Which,
they care, but
they're
at the
probably
same
going to
time,
end
like,
up just being, well, no, they do care about the hardware because they
yeah, no, they
expected what,
care, but if you don't, like, at least buy Game Pass. I'm thinking about buying Game Pass for my PC. There's so many games that come to it.
I don't need it because there's no
No, you
Xbox
don't need
games
it.
that
You
I
don't
really
have a
want to
PC.
play.
No, it's not just Xbox.
I have,
I'm talking about
right.
third-party games. Like the Infinite Metabolism. Kevin is getting Wasteland 3. That's coming to Game Pass. If he want, I'm gonna tell him like, hey, if you have a computer, if it runs it, get Game Pass. You only pay $15. You got it, or $5 on if you just get it on PC. Like, what? There's no reason not to if you got a PC. I don't know if his laptop will run it though. But we're getting off track with the Xbox stuff. Nintendo is trying to. They don't see why. No, that sentence was so wrong. I don't see why there's no reason. No, that sentence is way wrong. Somebody else speak. I totally lost my thoughts.
I think what you're trying to say is there's no sensible reason for them not to release a new console in 2021. They should, because if they want to capture more of that third-party multi-platform games, they're gonna have to do something like that. But to their benefit,
but you say that as if that is like the. I mean, don't get me wrong. Yes, games like Fortnite are huge buckets of money that everybody obviously wants to dip their hands into, but there aren't like those kinds of games like that. I know the industry is desperately trying to push the next Fortnite, the next Minecraft, the next Fall Guys. Fall Guys is the next, Fortnite, in my opinion. But they aren't popping up all the time. Some of them are, kind of like modestly interesting, but then they'll fade. Those big super successes, yeah, they're once in a blue moon, and I don't think hardware is the thing that draws those things in, because like you said, those are not exactly high performance games that require high fidelity 4K resolution, a lot of
Well, there's other games though, like
rates.
Assassin's Creed that pull people in. I know Genesis won't bring that up, but that's a game. That's a third-party game that people. Cyberpunk. That's not coming to the Switch.
That's
right.
If they had a 4K console, that would probably come to the Switch, but they don't have one currently.
If you want a console that only plays Nintendo games, congratulations, you can buy the Wii U.
Well, but every Nintendo console has been known for first-party support over third-party support since the Super Nintendo. I mean, from
not the Wii. The
N60...
Wii at first was a lot of third-party. Yeah, a lot of third-party. And then when people were like, hey, this console's not powerful, we can't really bring anything to this other than that 15th Skyrim port, it just died off immediately. That's why the Wii excelled for so long and then just stopped, because everything stopped except Nintendo games. And then the Wii U, the gamepad was trash, but it
you're
really
saying
only
that
had
the
first-party.
third-party support was more powerful than the first-party support for the Wii?
No, in certain instances,
I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying the first-party support is very prominent on Nintendo, just like with Sony. But at the same time,
that's always been the driving thing.
Yes,
that's always been the driving.
I'm not disputing that. But at the same time, they still have to have a strong third-party support, and they literally talk about this multiple times a year, that they try to build up their third-party support because they don't want people just turning on their Switch to play Nintendo games. They want people turning on their Switch for everything.
A prime example of that is the Wii U. The Wii U had no third-party support, and all of it was first-party support, and that console did not sell as much as they wanted it to.
It sold to the hardcore. It sold 40 million, I think. And the Switch has already surpassed the Wii U.
Yes, it did not have any third-party support, but I believe that the Wii U failed more prominently for just a general lack of marketing, advertising.
No,
it
failed because the gamepad was terrible. It was clearly an in-between console, and it was clearly like they were trying to make the Switch before they could make the Switch.
Yeah, it was a prototype of the Switch, basically. Yeah. They made money off a prototype of a Switch.
Hey, this is a handheld
from their side.
And it's a handheld, but you can only go 50 feet away from your Wii U. It was an idea. It was clearly an in-between, but third party wasn't there either. And like I said, it was only the hardcore of the
also
hardcore.
Nobody knew what it was, though.
I can tell you right now,
extreme failure at the marketing level. Like they didn't make any effort to distinguish it in any way.
It was an extreme failure because nobody wanted to design anything for it.
Well, well, Nintendo definitely had desire to always push their first-party platform, but if they couldn't even be moved to do it themselves, then...
No, they did, but it only sold 40 million, and then it topped off because nobody else wanted to design anything for it. The Switch has been supported by third-party a lot this generation. And that's why it's outsold.
Sure,
Nintendo
everybody
fans
loves
exist.
To play Skyrim on Switch. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, Nintendo fans exist, but they don't support the console enough for Nintendo to continue on. Like Sony fans exist that only buy Sony PlayStation games, but PlayStation is constantly trying to get third-party stuff, so you buy more on their store. It's all money. They don't want just you turning it on for their games. Sure, they want you to buy their games, but third-party support is needed. And each developer...
Third-party support is basically your main lifeline to it. The thing that's going to help you grow is your first party, but your main lifeline that keeps you afloat...
No, you have that reversed.
Yeah,
you have that reversed.
Because your first
party makes you list, third party will grow.
Yeah, third party grows, first party gets the fan base there.
Right.
And then they want you to stay there. No, it's fine. But third party is very important to the Switch.
I can guarantee you right now, if there's a 4K Switch that comes out next year, I can already name 3 games that would come there. It would be Cyberpunk, Red Dead, and Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, probably.
If there's a 4K Switch that comes out next year.
Yeah.
Grand Theft Auto on Nintendo. A non, what was that? That one Grand Theft Auto was on one of the 2DS...
Chinatown Wars?
The handhelds. There you go, Chinatown Wars.
Yeah, Chinatown Wars.
Grand Theft Auto and Nintendo do not seem like simpatico branding.
Look, listen. Witcher came over. That's an M for mature game.
Yo.
Nintendo does
that is not a comparison. That is not a comparison.
No, I get what you're saying. Yeah, I get what you're saying. That's not a Nintendo type of game, but companies change.
Oh, I agree. But this is the thing. I don't believe Nintendo has demonstrated that they're going to get down and wrestle with the other big boys in the mud in order to facilitate those third-party sales. Well, I'm just saying is that if you want Grand Theft Auto, you have to kind of step away from hey, we're the kid-friendly brand. Well,
Xbox
you lose
is trying to do that now.
Well, whatever the case may be, but you kind of lose a little bit of that steam when Grand Theft Auto is
but that's something Genesis said. That's not something that they're like, we're trying to get Grand Theft Auto here.
No.
It's third party in general. It's a huge third party, but is anybody craving that on their Switch? Maybe. But is Nintendo does Nintendo want that? Maybe. No idea.
That's what I'm asking. It just doesn't seem. It doesn't seem like
from their
track
record. But judging from their track record, they've already got Payday 2, Elder Scrolls, Dark Souls, Assassin's Creed, Witcher, BioShock.
See, now
those are all
you're naming M-rated games. You gotta understand, Grand Theft Auto as a brand, as a consistent brand, since I would say strongly since Grand Theft Auto 3, when it made that leap to 3D proper, has become an elevated, M-rated phenomenon. It's been a very strictly adult-oriented power fantasy filled with basically the worst imaginings of human beings that you could possibly conceive. Simulator. That stands above every other game brand IP that's in the M-rated category. It's in a completely different solar system.
You're naming things
that's
that
just shooters.
They're just mature.
Yeah.
GTA. I get what Giuseppe's saying about GTA because I don't know if a GTA would ever come to a Nintendo console other than Chinatown Wars, and that was I don't know. That was not even really a.
It's not the same thing. It was definitely
there was more drug dealing in that game,
right?
Which is okay for Nintendo. Apparently, kind of doesn't make any sense when you think about that. But
does it make a difference if Saints Row is on Nintendo Switch? Is that a better comparison?
That would be a better comparison, but that's still a lighter-hearted.
It's
a goofy,
Saints Row is
lighter-hearted.
satire.
Yeah.
Saints Row is satire. It's poking fun of itself.
Again,
and
4K Switch comes out. I wouldn't be surprised if they get some sort of GTA on it. I really would not be surprised. But as far as I know, no GTA other than that Chinatown Wars has been to any Nintendo console. But it's not just that game for a third party.
Yeah, no, I understand.
That's not the only third-party game that's ever existed.
True. But I'm just saying, in general, I would say that if Nintendo really was interested in securing the third-party market to basically, exponentially grow their platform, they would have to demonstrate a branding philosophy that is a little bit, more comfortable with, third parties doing what they want to do, as opposed to everyone obeying what Nintendo wants to do.
That ain't gonna change though. They'll keep doing what they're doing. Doesn't matter. The third parties are just gonna have to be like, okay, sure.
Or they could be like, look, we don't want to spend any extra time, money, effort, or resources importing our already wildly successful software on other platforms to the Switch. How much more money do we gain versus how much do we have to expend on our part to make the game custom fitted for your platform? We could just do nothing like Valve and just count our money.
See, I agree with that, but also they're making the 4K Switch, and I know third parties are coming to it, so clearly there's a market that they see.
Well, there's a market. I'm sure there is, but I mean, if Nintendo wants to demonstrate a dedication, I feel like they do have to do more than just provide hardware support. I'm talking about the whole branding, relaxing, and saying, hey, look, you know what? We want you to come here. We're not going to impose our will on your stuff. You just do what you've been doing for everyone else and just port it over to Switch.
They can do both.
Can do whatever you want. I'm saying they definitely can. I'm just saying I haven't really seen that demonstrated from Nintendo Corporate. It doesn't seem like that's something they want to do because they still have that strong branding of child safe and friendly kind of things that if you really opened up the floodgates to third party, that isn't specifically like the third party M-rated classification of games, that does kind of work against that branding.
Well, they don't have to open it up fully. They can open it up enough. And they don't have to put every single game that's third party on their platform. And I don't think they will, because they are still Nintendo. So they can still create a delicate, perfectly balanced, as all things should be, kind of way of putting third party games on their console. And I really think that a 4K Switch will help with that.
Sure.
I won't. I mean, I already have a Switch. I don't need a 4K Switch. I've got Animal Crossing.
I don't think I'd ever even buy a Switch. There's no point.
I'm telling you, there's something that might come there, and you'll be like, oh, wait a minute.
I don't think
there's and that's the thing right there. There's something that might come there. It remains to be seen.
Well, yeah. Okay.
Honestly, Nintendo should really just continue to do what it does, and honestly, what they should really do, they should expand their first parties. I don't see the value in throwing a bone to a third party. I think they should get more first party development on all their IPs. You know what I mean? I don't think it's good enough to see a new Zelda game once every 5 years or something like that.
Once a year, you want to codify it?
No. The last one came out when? That was 2018?
2017.
18. Okay.
17. 3 years. 4 years.
Yeah, I would like to see that turn shortened up because Zelda, Mario, Metroid, 2-year cycles. They can do it.
A Zelda game every 2 years?
Absolutely.
I wouldn't want that. I think I'd leave it at 4 years. The thing, you see, here's the thing.
Because Zelda, I don't want a God of War game every 2 years.
You're gonna end up with Pokemon then, and I don't want that. Pokemon has gone through a 2-year cycle, and it's become a piece of garbage.
Well, that's Pokemon's fault. It didn't have to be that way.
Yeah, but eventually you could be saying that about Zelda. I don't think an every 2 year thing. I don't think that's needed.
I think.
I think they need to provide updates to the games they actually put out.
That's I would agree with.
Well, then you can expand it that way. But that's still more. That's still making your first parties more prevalent, giving them more resources, get more companies in on that first party support and development.
I really don't think they need our judgment on their first party because their first party does great. So.
Oh yeah, sure it does, but that will always define
the sales numbers for some of their first parties are crazy amounts versus
Animal Crossing. Not Assassin's Creed. The ACs, stop. The Animal Crossing sold 27 million copies.
Yep.
Since it came out in March.
Versus something like
Mario Kart 8, it's close to that too. Actually, Mario Kart 8 might be at 27. Animal Crossing might be at like 24. Breath of the Wild sold 12 or 15 million. Mario, the whatever one that was, Odyssey was around there too.
And what's the highest selling third-party game for the Switch?
They only release Nintendo numbers. They don't release.
Yeah, they never release third-party numbers.
No, third-party numbers
chances are they're not close.
Yeah, they're not close, but they're still on there. Close. I would imagine.
They're still on there.
Yeah, they're still on there. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's the
same. But they're also not even close.
Well, so. Yeah. Well, it doesn't have to be close.
No, it doesn't have to be close. But I'm just saying is that Nintendo will always be defined by the first parties. I'm saying it right now. Nintendo will always be defined by their first parties because there's no possibility of getting those titles on any other platform. And I would say that an expansion and an evolution of their first party development and support is going to continue to push the advantage that they already have in their particular niche in the market share. I don't believe that an expansion to third-party support is going to be as valuable as an expansion to their first-party support.
So let me just
could also be for they just want to do it for the first parties.
Let me just give you a different opinion here. So like the NPD of July 2020 here, the top-selling game was Ghost of Tsushima. The second best-selling was Call of Duty Modern Warfare. The third was Paper Mario. 4 was Last of Us Part 2. Then Animal Crossing, then Ring Fit Adventure, then Mortal Kombat 11, Mario Kart 8, Super Smash, Sword Art, Minecraft, Legend of Zelda, Rainbow Six. Like, most of Nintendo's first party is in the... No, GTA 5, no, not in this one.
Fuck.
And most of Nintendo's first party is part of this top-selling list. But that's maybe half the list. The other half of the list is a mix of first party from Sony and then third party games that you can buy on either Xbox or PlayStation. And Nintendo misses some of that third party saturation. For them, that would just be extra cash on top of all this amazing best selling first party games they have, which is why it would make sense not. They can focus on their first party like they always do and expand those games, but I think they know they need to procure more third party regardless because they're missing those cuts of the pie at that point. Even if it's not a million sales versus 7 million or 10 million that was sold on PlayStation, there's still a million sales they got on the Switch.
I think Giuseppe is saying like it's such a small drop in the bucket compared. Cut? Yeah, it's such a small drop in the bucket compared to the first party. So if they expand their first party, all of that will sell really well.
Yeah, but that's free money for them, though.
But also, that's just assuming that all their first party will sell really well.
Look, in the interest of any one company going out, regardless of whatever product it's making, in the interest of any one company wanting to go out and get all the money in the world, not just market share, just literally all the money in the world, Nintendo, as a company that makes video games, has a distinct advantage with their stable of first-party software. And I'm just saying is that that advantage they have there is heads and shoulders above the competition in regards to their exclusive titles for their respective platforms. And I'm just saying that really focusing on that clear advantage that you have as a brand, as a company that's distinguished from Sony, Xbox, and PC platforms, I would say that is the way that you push your brand and distinguish yourself even more, as opposed to playing the third-party game where everyone else is kind of like left, splitting copies of the next Elder Scrolls or the next, Witcher game or the next whatever Grand Theft Auto game, although that one would clearly be like the one to go after, because Grand Theft Auto is it will always be a huge thing. It will always be a huge thing. Whatever number iteration, will probably see 30 versions of Grand Theft Auto before it's all said and done, because it's just a license to print money.
You're assuming that all their first-party games are successes and everyone loves them.
I don't know. Have there been any massive disappointments for Nintendo first-party games? I
don't follow Nintendo.
Pokemon.
Was that a failure sales-wise?
It's sold well because it's a Pokemon game, and it's a Pokemon game. I don't have to say anything else.
I do recall there being a lot of fallout about Sword and Shield, like YouTube commentaries.
Critically wise, it was not a very well received title, but it still sold.
Paper Mario wasn't like critically the best game that came out. Like it got a lot of 7s and 8s.
But that one sold.
That one sold, but also it was third on NPD. But NPD, the numbers there, they didn't. Like Ghost of Tsushima only sold like 1 million or 2 million on that NPD chart.
Keep in mind also this is only physical copies. This is not digital copies as well.
Yeah, so it's not like that's counting a lot for Paper Mario for being third on NPD compared to.
Can somebody explain to me how Spider-Man is still number 18 on this list?
It goes on sale and people buy it at stores. Yeah, right, it doesn't stay in there all the time. It just pops in every so often. That's why you get a lot of games like that just popping in. So, what the hell is this here? Oh, yeah, it was on sale at this store for $25 this week. Oh, there it is. So, yeah. It being at number 18, it probably sold like 200,000 copies, if that. Not even. Because the NPD is super strange, and the between number 1 and like number 20, the numbers are all over the place. Because some months it's like, it sold 800,000 copies.
Here's a better comparison. 15. This is the top 10 selling video games of year to date ending July 2020. The number 1 is Call of Duty. Number 2 is Animal Crossing. Number 3 is Last of Us Part 2. 4 is Final Fantasy VII. 5 is Ghost of Tsushima. 6 is Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. 7 is MLB The Show. 8 is Resident Evil 3, 9 is Mario Kart 8, and 10 is Mortal Kombat 11.
Guys, Mario Kart 8
third parties.
Guys, Mario Kart 8 came out a couple years ago. I just want everyone to know that. Also, it came out on the Wii U. So, Mario Kart 8 is still going. Hey, Genesis, get to work here. What are you doing?
So that's 3 third parties you named in that top 10.
Sorry, I was looking at the...
3 third parties?
Yeah, 3 third party games.
What were the 3? Call of Duty,
Mortal Kombat.
Call of Duty, Mortal Kombat, Resident Evil 3, and Dragon Ball Z Kakarot.
Oh, Dragon Ball. Wow,
yeah, those are the 4.
How well did those Dragon Ball games sell? It seems as though they...
Kakarot seems to have sold the best as of recent, just because it was not like the fighters type of game. It was just a story-driven game, which we haven't gotten one of those in a long time.
I'm curious how many copies Last of Us Part 2 sold, because that was number 3 on your list.
Yes, it was.
And we know Animal Crossing is in the 20 millions, and Call of Duty has to be high 20s, maybe 30s. I'm curious as to how much Last of Us Part 3 is. I'm curious how big of a gap that is, or Part 2 is. I'm so curious how big of a gap that is. Because I would bet that it's probably north of 10 million units as a gap.
15 million copies.
15 million?
Nope. That's Uncharted 4. My mistake.
Yeah, that's Uncharted 4 over some time, I would imagine. Sony doesn't really, they're not really open with numbers until they announce hey, it reached this milestone. Nintendo updates their site every month or 2 months with hey, this is what our game sold.
Yeah, all I'm getting is just the initial sales numbers for Last of Us 2.
Yeah, what were they?
It's not giving me the initial sales number, for the first opening weekend or so was the 4 million number is what I'm getting.
Yeah, okay,
I'm
4 million. and then over time, I can't imagine. I bet it's around 15 million, and I bet there's a giant gap between Animal Crossing and Last of Us.
I don't know. It's possible Animal Crossing might be way up.
How
can't tell.
how
I can't
credible
find any
is
numbers.
VG charts again? Is that not a very credible source?
It's not credible, but what is it? I'm curious because sometimes they get close, sometimes they're way off, and sometimes it's actually guesses, and they're within a certain range. So we can plus or minus.
Give me just a second here.
I'm curious.
Why
It's
is
got to be a
Last of Us
big.
2
It's got to
not
be.
showing up?
It's tough.
Is this just showing me?
And VG charts has been kind of crap lately. Because I check it every so often, even though I know it's not accurate.
You want to know something weird though? VG Charts shows global hardware totals. Switch at 62.8 million, PS4 at 112.7 million,
That should be
3DS 75.8 million,
yeah.
Xbox One 48.2, PlayStation Vita 15.9 million.
I think those are all correct, but those are all public numbers.
Okay.
Except Xbox. Xbox might be a guess, and I think the 112.7 is the most recent Sony number that came out.
Yes, I'm not seeing Last of Us 2 on VG charts. Hang on one second.
The only numbers I'm saying is for Lu 2 is
That
4 million
weekend.
copies sold through June 21st. That's all that I'm finding article after article.
See, Sony and Microsoft aren't really open with their numbers. Most third-party people aren't really open with their numbers, and they're all really guesses. A lot of analysts just put out guesses, "Hey, this is the data we found."
That seems so odd. You would think that there would be a vested interest in getting some accurate number
they get them. They just don't put them out. So, which sucks. And then I think they do put them out, but they're on paid services, and it's not allowed to be shared for some of them. So that you can do industry
I can understand
tracking.
why.
Yeah, no, I'm not. I wouldn't be mad at that.
Yeah, I mean it everyone's fearful that those numbers come out and that hurts all your future sales.
Yeah, if Xbox, they literally stopped talking about how much their console sold 3 years ago at this point, 2 or 3 years ago. They were like, yeah, we're not going to announce numbers anymore. Bye. We lost. So. Speaking of rumors.
Sorry.
Rumor has it.
Rumor has it, rumor.
Is that the song that I get every week now?
I guess, yeah, sure. Why not?
Okay,
we're all big thin Adele fans here.
Rumor has it this week, Microsoft is investing into a quadruple A studio by getting some people, alumni from...
Quadruple.
Hang on, I will tell you.
Combo breaker.
Getting them from the Crystal Dynamics or Bungie. And actually, the person heading this initiative studio... Hang on, I just had it right here. Where did you go here? Studio's being led by Daryl Gallagher, I think that's how you pronounce his last name, who previously worked at Rockstar Games, Crystal Dynamics, and later Activision. He oversaw development of games like GTA 4, Tomb Raider, and Destiny. And he is looking for all these people from people who used to work at Crystal Dynamics and who used to work at Bungie, trying to create this this studio that pumps out these amazing games for Xbox.
Who's the rumor from? What source? How credible is it? Give me a credibility rating out of 10.
IGN.
Oh, all right. Well,
so what defines what does a quadruple A anything mean relative to AAA?
So the quadruple A term came from the job listings that they had posted up, because it says the studio is calling for experience in shipping high quality titles at quadruple A standards, and a knowledge of understanding the process of building new IPs. That's
so they
where
did a typo.
I don't know.
that
Not a good
sounds
start.
appropriate.
Not a good start, guys. Got to be honest with you.
Sounds pretty appropriate.
I have only one thought on this.
Yes.
I cannot wait to see a CGI trailer in 6 years.
Yeah. Honestly, with the way that Xbox has been,
we're gathering some of the highest skilled people to put a game together. We ain't gonna do it quick. Also, is Microsoft still gonna be around then? No one knows.
No, I don't think so. They're gonna be a full software at that point. They're gonna drop the Xbox.
No, I mean the whole company of Microsoft. Will they be around? Nobody knows.
Well, they'll be around.
Apple bought them.
No, Apple's not gonna buy them.
Apple bought them. Then Amazon bought Apple.
I would be happy if Amazon bought Apple.
I don't think you would.
I would be happy for that.
Yeah, but every time you logged on Amazon, it'd be like, "Hey, buy an Apple phone."
My goodness.
Because you know for a fact, if Apple or Amazon bought Apple, they'd keep that branding. Oh, by the way, I just want to put out thoughts and prayers to all the Epic employees who are suing Apple still. I just thank you. Thanks for your service. You're heroes in your own regards.
Yeah, stop recruiting consumers to fight your fights for you. We don't see any of your profits. You go take them to court and you take care of business yourself. Don't recruit anyone for your nonsense.
Does anybody else have thoughts on your rumor of the week? You didn't give it a 10. You didn't rate it out of 10.
I have a. I mean, my only comment is that the whole concept of quadruple A. Even the idea of triple A. I mean, that thing is just a ridiculous construct idea. It's just like, look, it's trying to glitz and glam up, your product in a way that's, in some instances, again, depending on the game, in some instances, yeah, it is appropriate to, qualify it as that. But not everything that just gets rolled off the assembly line is worthy of like a full price game. It's not every game that comes out is really worth $60, if not more, with microtransactions and then DLC and any other kind of cosmetic things that you try to rope people in with that after the fact, after your price of admission has been paid for that particular game. I don't know. That's just ridiculous. Honestly, it's as ridiculous as Squaresoft's quality control panel. Square Enix. Square Enix's quality control panel that to ensure that all of their titles moving forward, back when they first initiated it, will meet the highest quality standards for all games moving forward. Our lauded panel will ensure that all of our projects will meet that excellence threshold.
When was that panel created?
That was sometime prior to FF15's release.
So before Kingdom Hearts 3, that's shocking.
Yeah, it was a little while ago, but it's just another marketing stunt, just some nonsensical PR to try to glitz up something that isn't really going to be there.
I want to announce that this is the 5th episode in a row that I made fun of Kingdom Hearts 3, so including the pilot. But real quick, to end this, do you guys want to go through what you think is a 1A game, a 2A, a AAA, and a quadruple A?
You mean like the minor league system all the way up to the majors?
Yeah, okay. Let's. You guys want to do that real quick?
Sure. Let's see if we can hammer it out.
All right, everyone pick a 1A. Go ahead.
No, let's start with easy. We got to go.
Oh, easy? All right.
Easy.
So AAA down.
No, quadruple A down.
Sorry, quadruple A down.
Okay, so without actually having a true quadruple A, we'll just go ahead and pick something obvious, like Grand Theft Auto, whatever the next Grand Theft Auto game is.
I'm picking games I like.
Okay, fine. I'm gonna pick. You can pick that. I'll pick whatever the next Grand Theft Auto game that should qualify as a quadruple A game.
It's my 1A
because
game.
that stands above as its own phenomenal thing that almost everybody and their mother wants to buy. Well, and their father. maybe not as many mothers are interested in Grand Theft Auto.
I'll give my quadruple A, Last of Us 2. Because it's the acting, the graphics, like it's got everything. So
my quadruple A.
It could use a better story.
See, I was like, is he going to say something? He just couldn't keep his mouth shut for 1 second.
No.
No?
By virtue of that, it goes all the. I would say by virtue of that, I would pick Last of Us 2 as a AAA game. Grand Theft Auto stands ahead above that.
Story of Last of Us 2 is better than GTA 5.
Nah.
Its opinions vary.
It's really not.
Genesis, what are you doing?
My AAA game for me is probably God of War.
Oh, it's a good one.
Yeah, God of War definitely.
You know what? I'm going to switch it. Yeah, no, God of War. Yeah, that's my quadruple A now, too.
Mm-hmm.
That was a good choice.
Very good quadruple A. All right, what we got for triple A's?
Ghost of Tsushima.
I'd
put it in the quadruple, but I think it's too early.
Call of Duty. Any Call of Duty.
I'm going to say probably the Final Fantasy VII Remake, or Final Fantasy games in general.
All right.
You guys are picking a lot of exclusives. Just saying.
We're picking what we like, unlike some people here who are picking GTA and Call of Duty.
I'm picking the best examples of that threshold of quote unquote A development.
Okay. What's your 2A? What's your AA battery?
AA
batteries.
I'm going to say mine, Fall Guys.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Fortnite.
Ooh. Oh, wow. Okay.
I'm gonna have COD for this one. COD is gonna be AA.
Call of Duty is not a AA game. You can count on it every year, and every year, even if it's a shitty one.
See, I would agree with Genesis on this, because in my opinion, that it's designed to be a AAA game, but it's a AA game because you only care about it for a year, if that, and then it goes away and you get another game.
That, and you can clearly see the decline for Call of Duty, and any type of shooting game that does not have a battle royale in it is clearly on the up and up.
Then by that same logic, then every sport game qualifies as AA game.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that.
Sport games, I would say, is a single A game because their lifespan is garbage.
Damn.
They add one feature into the game, and it's a brand new game, good for 6 months, and then they go right down the pipe.
Damn.
Yeah.
Shots fired. Madden's coming for you. I guess we'll never get that sponsorship, but whatever.
Well, that's fine. I don't want their sponsorship.
Yeah, football's bad. It causes concussions. Anyways.
Santa Monica, if you want to sponsor us, I'll be more than happy to take that one. Sucker Punch, same to you.
But the one thing that would pull me back from putting sport games into single A is that single A is really reserved for your indie titles.
So what would you say?
Single A is indie titles. Cuphead,
so like Fall Guys?
Shovel Knight. No, Fall Guys is definitely no.
It's an indie title.
I would put that in, but that's just such a phenomenal success. That's way
Cuphead's not
bigger. I would say Fall Guys is bigger than Cuphead.
Well, yeah, I would say that too, but it's still a phenomenal success.
Cuphead was its own success. Cuphead was definitely a very good success on its own.
Yeah, but I don't think it overtook the market the way that Fall Guys and Fortnite.
Not everything has to overtake the market. But how come Fall Guys wouldn't be AAA then if it overtakes the market like a Call of Duty?
Wait a minute. Hold on. We're forgetting one of the best AAAs. We're sitting in it right now.
No, Minecraft sucks. It's like a negative A to me.
I don't know. I think
Minecraft is
we're sitting in it. We're not playing in it. Come on now.
Yeah, we're sitting in Minecraft.
This is our job.
It's not only considering how well the product sold too. It's also what the product is. Like, for instance, this isn't as visually sophisticated as some of the other AAA examples or quadruple A examples that we listed previously. So it's, yes, how well it was received,
we don't have that
how much money. Right, exactly.
No, I'm serious. No, you guys laugh, but I'm dead serious. There are texture packs that make this look like a AAA game.
Yeah, we also don't have the map room that makes it run like goo. So.
Well, yeah, but in most games you're not allowed to put things like the map room in.
Yeah.
I would say Minecraft started as a AA and turned into a AAA.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Sure. And there it is.
My 1A is Flappy Bird.
Huh?
Mobile games.
Single A for me would have been something like any Ubisoft title. Watch Dogs, Assassin's Creed, any garbage like that.
Okay, hold
so
on.
now we
got off the rails.
That's your fanboyism.
I've held your back to Giuseppe here. I've been right behind you. Don't shoot up. Don't you shoot up. And on that note, Giuseppe.
Yeah, I guess we don't have anything else really to say other than we all disagree with each other, or I disagree with
I wouldn't say that.
So.
I would disagree with that. I think we all agree.
Oh, that's fine. I definitely will say that though, because yes, I enjoy being the dissenter. Somebody has to.
I don't think you disagree
you
with
guys
everything.
in a little bit.
You have an opinion on a lot of things, which is good. You should have an opinion.
I think we all
have
to
opinions.
Tone the fanboy down.
I don't have an opinion. What are you talking
fanboy moniker down.
Don't have a fanboy.
You don't have it because you are it.
Nope. I pride myself on being able to step away from being a fanboy and objectively rating things. And I still say I have.
Yeah, me too.
Opinions.
Okay, no. The joke is only funny when I say it.
You use it on me, and now I return it to you.
It's literally what you've been saying the last 3 days.
Right. One good turn deserves another.
You're a pessimist, and I'm an optimist, and Genesis is a Genesis.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Like that about you.
Please, for the love of God, stop shooting.
All right, and with that, I think that'll wrap up our crafting a chat. I think we've done more of a crapping of a chat as opposed to a craft. Genesis here is punching holes in the set, kind of like how we've been.
What did you punch?
Punching holes into each other.
I didn't punch any holes in anything.
What are you talking about?
All over
Nobody's punching holes. We didn't punch holes into each other.
Look at this.
Well, I feel like you've been attacked, Giuseppe. You haven't been attacked.
I didn't attack him.
So you're telling me how I feel? What's the matter with you?
No, okay. All right. Well, you know what? Giuseppe's opinions suck. Genesis's opinions suck, and my opinions suck. Welcome to the Suckcast.
Are we renaming the show?
We're renaming it. No, we're just calling it the Suckcast.
Gotcha.
So people know what to expect. This was always fun. I'm glad that our friendship has now ended, and I will see you guys next week Tuesday. Also, anybody want to play some Fall Guys tomorrow?
Well, that's the only way to wrap it up. That's the only way to wrap it up.
No.
Sign us off, Giuseppe. We're done.
Come on. You got to give all of it. You got to do your whole little speech.
I've stopped. The broadcast is done.
Oh God, my wait till let me know that the. All right, I guess we're out. See you guys later next week. Twitch.tv/miners and hosts. For now, it'll later be crafting and chat. So see you guys later.
YouTube.com/craftingachat. If you're watching my view, you're not on that, but I don't promote my YouTube channel on this channel or on this podcast because I don't know. I still film it and change the thumbnails and stuff.
Jeez, dude, you could have given me a heads up to end. I didn't know you ended. The normal speech you do?
Yeah.
I did. It was
normally you say stay healthy, stay happy. By the way, guys, I'm still streaming.
Well, I'm embracing my full pessimism. I wasn't feeling to that sentiment. Everyone should die.
No, don't say that.
I know. I don't think you can say that. I don't think that's okay.
No. I'm still streaming, so.
I think that went very well.
I think it was fun. We knew it was going to be good.
Oh yeah.
And I think it matters that you come in with not well, I'm going to just say you come in with a negative attitude to things.
It's important that you have that honest, different opinion. If you didn't have that different opinion, then it would just be a whole load of just positive.
It would just,
oh my god, we love
like,
this
looks good, this looks good, this looks bad. You point out
people
things,
need a
and then
sense of
I think about
realism.
it. Yeah, like.
Yeah, I need a slap in the face sometimes as a wake up call.
No, I don't need a slap in the face. No, I'm awake.
No. There's no need
all right,
for
well,
physical violence.
he listen.
Or
I
no,
would say no.
We're gonna beat up Z. No, we're not. No, there's need for physical combat. When you said fanboys must die, I immediately drew a sketch of how to kill Z. So
that's fine. I understand that. It makes a lot of sense and makes.
Yeah,